weekend. We got some sun. It was kind of nice out. Rainy today, so not as nice. Did you have fun over the weekend, Bum?
I did. I went up to Silver Reef. Spent some time there. Played some golf 2 days out of the 3 possible days that I could play. So I can't complain. It was good. Other than the struggles that we saw the Mariners go through, which is kind of weird, man, because when you put up 9 runs, you're like, all right, offense, but bullpen, where you at? And then there's a 4-1 game, and you feel like, this is the regular Mariners. And then there's a 5-4. So, no, it was okay. Other than the Mariners going through what they went through,
Otherwise, solid. Other than the Mariners, you had a great weekend.
How
Matt,
about yourself?
Curtis,
sorry,
good.
my bad.
I did absolutely nothing. It was everything I wanted it to be.
We got rid of Blair's crib, so there's like a lot more room in our house now. It's wild. Like, look at me. I'm standing over here. Couldn't stand over here previously.
Yeah. I was asking to be polite. I want to talk about myself. Bump immediately was sensing what was up. I'm like, okay, anyways, moving on. I need to tell you guys, and let me bring up this text I sent. I need to tell you guys what happened, and then I need you to tell me if I'm being rude. And I specifically saved this for air so that I could get some listener feedback. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm going to change this person's name for the story. So I moved into a new apartment complex. The thing I need to let you know about the parking lot is it is a normal parking lot. This is not like a tight parking lot. This is not a complicated parking lot. This is drive to any mall in America, and the space available is similar to this. Okay. It is not difficult, okay? So I walk out to my Bronco from Wayscar Ford in Auburn, and I see that there's a little note on the window.
Oh, man. You parked in somebody's spot.
Well, so that's what I thought. I go, oh, my God. Like, so much has gone wrong already at this apartment complex. It's been not a nightmare, but, like, close to that. So I thought, oh, great. Did I get assigned the same spot as someone else, and now we got to fight over it? Someone has been in my spot multiple times, by the way. Anyways.
So there are assigned spots.
There are assigned spots, but I am learning that people will frequently park in a spot that is not theirs. Anyway, so I go out, and there's a note. Hey, I'll change your name. Hey, I'm so sorry. I was backing out and I bumped into the rear driver's side of your car. I don't see any damage, but here's my number, Meg. And I thought, how classy. What a classy lady Meg is. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see any damage either. And I thought, well, maybe she just barely tapped it and just left a note to be polite. Whatever. I'm going to drive away. So I didn't even text her. I thought, well, I don't see anything at all. I'm shocked she even left a note. Then the next morning I walk out, and I had to park in another spot because someone was in my spot. I see another note on my window, and I go, oh, my God, now I got a note from someone else that I parked in their spot. No. Hey, I'm so sorry. I was pulling into my parking spot, and I sideswiped the side of your car. I did notice some damage, so here's my number. It's Meg again. It is Meg, you guys. Meg backed out of a parking... No, listen. Meg backed out of a parking spot and hit my car. And then when I had to move my car and park in a different parking spot, she hit my car pulling into her parking spot. Meg doesn't know how to drive.
Get off the road,
Meg clearly does not know how to drive. She's driving a large SUV. I'm like, you don't know how to navigate with this. Go get a different car. So I text her. This time I obviously text her because there's damage. And now I need to go back to Wayscar Ford in Auburn.
Okay.
I said, thank you for leaving a note both times.
Both times.
Both times.
Wow.
No, listen, it gets worse. So I said, I didn't see the damage the first time, but looks like there are definitely scratches this time, this dumb parking lot. So then I, asked for a name and information. Tell me if this is passive aggressive. I said, oh, man, given this is the second time you've bumped into my car, I'd recommend asking the office if there's a spot that's a little easier for bigger vehicles. That's what I did. Sideways
passive.
Smiley face.
Yeah, yep. That's passive aggressive for sure.
But here's my other question.
Giving her suggestions. You don't know her like that.
Why do I need to worry about being passive aggressive? This is intentionally passive aggressive. I want you to pick up on the aggressive part of my passive text. I don't need to be nice to you. You hit my car twice.
She just can't drive, though. You know some people who just can't drive?
She needs to learn.
We got friends like that.
There is no way. She had tape in her car to leave these notes. You are driving this thing like a bumper cart around Seattle, knocking into cars regularly. I'm sure of it.
She's one of those people that goes over a curb and just goes, oops.
Yes. Yes. I'm like, how in 24 hours you hit my car twice? Twice.
Hey,
I don't owe you being friendly.
I suggest that you go to this isn't verbatim, obviously, but you're pretty much like, look, you can't drive this thing, so I recommend that you go find a bigger parking spot. She's been there. You don't know how long Meg has been in that complex. Meg might run that complex low-key. You're new to this.
There's no way. No,
You're
I
new
did.
to this.
No, listen, I did some research.
Did
Meg
you?
is very young.
Okay.
And I believe is still a college student. I don't think she's been there that long.
All right. Well, that changes things a bit.
Yeah, I think Meg is, yeah. I wondered at first. I thought maybe Meg, who am I to say? But Meg, you hit my car twice in 2 different spots. You do not know how to drive your car.
Hey.
And if you could see the bird's eye view of this parking lot, there's no reason you should hit my car while you're backing out. You could back a giant Escalade out of that spot safely.
Well, maybe she had something to drink and couldn't control herself.
Someone said, I bet Meg is a riot. I'm just saying, I just needed to know if that was a little rude.
I mean,
she definitely could pick up on it.
It's passive aggressive for sure.
Yeah.
Is it rude? No, I wouldn't say all that, but just whatever energy you put out there, just be ready for it to be returned back to you.
She should be thinking that. You hit my car twice. This is the energy I'm giving back to you. I'm not going to, hey, girl, no worries at all.
I'm not mad at it. I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Well, now that I'm all fired up, I'm going to get fired up again about the Mariners. I'm going to get going even more. I'm going to start with the good, though. The good from the Mariners' winless weekend, and there is some. We'll start with Julio, who hit a pair of home runs in this series.
First, here's the pitch. Swung on, belted deep to left field. Matos going back to the warning track, looking up, and goodbye baseball into the bleachers and left. Julio Rodriguez with his 3rd home run of the season. I'm telling you, a lightning bolt out to straightaway left field, and the Mariners lead the Giants 1-0 here in the top of the 1st inning.
Some good, obviously, to come from this one. Obviously, it wasn't a win, but bump Julio, certainly one of them. Feel free to talk about Julio, but what stood out to you from this series where you were like, okay, not walking away with a win, but I do feel good about that?
Yeah, well, the offense production at that first game, right? You put up 9 runs. Okay, that's something I don't think we've seen that this year. But with Julio, it's interesting because there are some numbers that suggest that he's having a better season so far up to this point. And there are other numbers that say, okay, there's still some things he needs to work on. So then when I combine those two, I go off the eyeball test now. And I'm looking at his body language and the pitches that he is swinging at. It feels better. Even though his whiff rate is up this year. It's up a little bit. All right, it's up. But it's so early into the season, it's hard to look at 2 to 3 seasons of 160-plus games, and then let's narrow down to these 10 games. So that's why I take the numbers, the good, the bad, and combine it and use my eyeballs to say, okay, what am I seeing out of Julio? And I do see a guy that is confident. I see a guy who is scoring some things up. I mean, he had a line drive that was caught by his boy at shortstop over there by the Giants, and had to laugh it off. Like, there are some things that Julio's doing a good job of. The positive from this weekend for me would be just that first game, and then the third game of making it close towards the end and having a chance to win a ball game. It's not like you lost to a team that is slumping and you guys got them out of the slump. They came in with 6 straight wins or something like that. And unfortunate, 3-7 and stuff they are now doesn't look good. It does not look good. But when you look at how they lost this series and who they lost it to, you can take some positives, but of course there are some negatives.
Feel free to join this conversation, 866-979-3776, Mac and Jack's text line. Let's move on to the bad. Is Jorge Polanco still hurt? Here's Dan Wilson following Sunday's pregame.
Well, I mean, I think we knew, going in, we're going to have to be a little cautious. So, we're just going to give him a little bit more rest today and then see where we're at tomorrow.
I would have had one of the positives outside of just this series. If you were like, what's one positive for the season so far? I'd say I think the ground is being set for Jorge Polanco to potentially have a bounce back season. Like, I may have been wrong in seeing that signing and going, what? Like, there may be some truth to he's coming off of his surgically repaired knee and maybe he could play well. He's actually not coming fully off of that, though. Still some soreness with that knee.
And these are tough.
Yeah.
You got to understand that. You might feel good for a couple of weeks, but Father Time has a way of reminding you that you might need a few more weeks or a few more days to really recover. And you have to monitor that, especially when you have such a long season like they do in baseball. I hope this is something that is temporary, but when you hear Shannon Drayer talk about how it affected him last year, and then you see the great start that he's off to, and then you're hearing and feeling that the knee might not be okay, it's it makes you a bit concerned because we're not super confident at that third base spot anyway. Like, we have questions there. Solano's going to be there. Demo going to rotate there. Polanco's going to be there. You want someone solid, then you're looking at Geno. What's up, Geno? You know, over there in Arizona doing his thing. You're
Stop
like, man.
it. Stop doing your thing in Arizona.
Should just kept him. But no, it's concerning, man, because we are only 10 games in, and this is going to be a problem. And knees don't just heal. It's not like an ankle. 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be good to go. Ligaments are all tight. You've gone through your rehab, and you feel great about it. With a knee, man, it could feel great for a week or two, and then one false move, and that thing swells up on you all over again, and it sets you back. So, yeah, we should be concerned about that.
Someone said, you guys are making excuses for this team. And I said, they're still getting introduced to the concept of the good, the bad, the ugly.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, yeah. Calm down. God, 10, 11 a.m. on a Monday.
That's why.
Let's transition, by the way, from the bad to the ugly. And we have some things that, like, aren't the ugliest that we can still mention, right? And then some stuff that is pretty ugly. I'm going to start. I know that we'll get to injuries. We'll get to bullpen questions. I'm going to start with just kind of almost like a step back ugly. And that is that the things we were worried about with this team are mostly still there. And I hate that feeling because that's how we all felt last offseason, right? You went into last offseason going, what's happening at third? You know, how are you going to replace moving on from a couple bats? And then as the season progressed, you thought, oh, they didn't actually solve this problem. And it's really frustrating to know that your team has a problem, that they didn't address it, and that problem that you talked about for months and months and months is still going to rear its head during the season. I mean, you could point to the Seahawks and their linebacker questions. In training camp, we were like, are your linebackers going to be okay? And then you start the season, and the answer is no. I felt the same way as everyone did about the Mariners' offense. Did you add enough? It doesn't feel like it. And then it certainly doesn't feel like it so far this season. For everything that we're saying about, Julio, off to a hotter start than normal, Polanco could be in a bounce-back year, you are still lacking.
Yeah, and I think that is what keeps me, like, I'm not calm. I'm not looking at the situation and saying, oh, don't worry about it, they're going to be fine. I'm more looking at the situation and saying, why would I be surprised? Why would I be surprised that this team is 3-7 right now, that you go into a series with the San Francisco Giants and they give you everything they gave you last year? Run production, right? You hit a couple bombs or whatnot. You make it interesting towards the end of the game, but then they rip your heart out. Then the next game, you don't have any production out there. You're struggling a little bit. All right, we've lost that way before. And then this last one to where you make it interesting and someone makes a great play defensively. Then the next pitch later, one pitch later, it's over with. They gave you in one series exactly what they gave you all of last year, and that is what is most concerning. I'm not sitting here saying they're going to be fine, but I'm sitting here saying, I told you. It's like I look at my son, and I'll tell him something is going to happen. I will tell him in his little friend group, these little dorks, man. I tell him something's going to happen.
Leave those kids alone.
And then he's like, no, Dad, I don't think that's it. Then he comes back to me, actually, Dad, you were right. Yeah. Why? Because I'm dang near 40, and I've seen this before. And we've seen this with this team. And we questioned the moves that they made and what they did make and said, how can you expect so much out of Polanco? Then he comes out hot. Right now he's banged up. How can you expect so much out of Solano? We're talking leadership. That's what we're talking, leadership here. And you need Julio to take that step forward, and it looks like he's doing his thing. But something that we didn't address enough, and we talked about it a bit, was that dang bullpen. And we felt good about Santos because he was injured most of last year, and we're saying, okay, he might be the guy, to get the ball to Munoz, and we should feel good about that whole situation. But no, the bullpen looks all bad. So, yeah, it's a situation that I was hoping that this team wouldn't be in, but I'm not surprised that they're in it. 10 games in, they're giving you everything that they showed you last year. A few positives. Randy has had his moments. Robles has had his moments. Julio looks like he's getting he's looking like the Julio that we know and love. Still lots of ball to be played, but even with all those little battles that have been won, you're still looking at a team that's struggling.
An update on Victor Robles and his shoulder.
Yeah, it looked like he something with his shoulder, and we'll find out more here as we go. But yeah, it's just a outstanding catch, outstanding play down there. And we're hoping for the best.
Filed under ugly, not really in your control. Obviously, are going to be injuries, so we're all wondering, how serious this one's going to be.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, too, because in hindsight, you can look at that play and be like, man, just let it go. Foul ball, continue to live, fight another day. But at the same time, I will never tell my dudes not to make a play. You go out there and you just play like your hair is on fire. You go out and you make some plays. And that was a result of that, just trying to make a play. So that's unfortunate, man, because we know how important Victor Robles is. That whole outfield is vital to the offensive production with this squad because you're not getting much anywhere else other than Demo.
Yeah, it's just, again, a disappointing start. Now, Julio had some positives to talk about coming out of this one. I know that no one is feeling especially glass half full right now. But again, 3-7, 10 games in. Heading into, an important early series against two divisional opponents. We'll get back to this at 10:45, tell you everything Julio had to say, figure out whether it's fair to be glass half full when you're looking at this team so far right now. And come Friday, what do we need to see to feel good about what we're saying today? Right now, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, thanks to an epic collapse from Duke on Saturday, Houston will face Florida in tonight's national championship game. What's the real headline?
Man, Duke grads are in hell going from that collapse to the collapse of the stock market. It's just collapse to collapse to collapse.
When will they catch a break?
I know. White Lotus wasn't kind to them. They're having a hard time.
That was rough, man. Duke up 14 with 8 minutes left. Flag had himself a game, 27 points, and then Duke is up 9 with 2 minutes left, and you're feeling good about the situation. Duke hasn't played in too many close games, and I think this is where you see the age difference between Duke, who plays dang near nothing but freshmen, and Houston, who got uncles over there playing with nieces and nephews and stuff. That's kind of where it shows up. And then Curtis and I were talking about this before the show. If you see the way that Houston practices, you know that they bring this level of intensity that is never died type of situation.
Dogs.
It's crazy. They're throwing it. This is old school blue chips type of basketball practices, and it shows up in different ways. This was huge, man. I feel bad for the young man Flag because they called a foul on him late in the game that led to a 1-and-1 that put Houston up. I didn't think that was an over-the-back call, but you got to go with the referees. Look, man, I thought this was going to be the year for Duke. It's been 10 years since they got that national championship banner, but I'm not mad at Houston at all. I just love their style, the grit that they play with, and this is a well-coached team.
Florida were heavy favorites entering the tournament. Still favorites heading into this one. Moneyline moving towards Houston. Who do either of you two have?
I've had Houston the whole way. That's who I picked. Yeah.
I had Duke winning it, but I'm taking Florida now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Nice. We got a little competition between the two of you, at least, heading into this one. I took no one. I have already been eliminated long ago.
Took Auburn. No, not long ago. Took it out Auburn.
I took Bama.
Oh, you took Bama.
I made a horrible.
Yeah.
I literally made maybe the worst bracket I've ever seen in my life.
No. Matt Nelson.
That's
who is in last place.
That's true. Yeah.
Matt got some money in the bank.
Matt, I didn't mean to take that from you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the whole just pick whatever name sounds fun didn't work for me this year.
It worked for you for this past NFL playoffs.
True.
But
won that.
Yeah.
Lost this.
Lightning couldn't strike twice there. I'm sorry.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number two, Alex Ovechkin broke Wayne Gretzky's NHL record for most career goals with 895 on Sunday. Here is how the record-setting goal sounded.
Center, send in Wilson on the flank. Cross ice, Ovechkin fires! Score! The chasing days are done! Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL!
What's the real headline?
And he did it in the exact same number of games, proving witchcraft is real.
Man, I love this for Ovi. Him and Crosby, we've grown up together. We're both born in 85, right? At least me and Ovi. I'm not sure how old Crosby is, around the same age. And I've watched them their whole career. So to see Ovechkin do this, I remember, I forgot what program it was on, but I got introduced to Ovechkin, watching him play golf for the first time. He hits a hole-in-one. Then he takes us on the Autobahn where he's going 130 miles per hour. And now look at this. He's got gray in his hair. I got gray in my beard. And I'm watching him pass up Wayne Gretzky. And it wasn't no cheap goal either. It was a little wrister. He had to put that thing in a spot. And then the celebration was epic. I would expect nothing less from Ovechkin. That was fun to watch. And it's cool to be around to watch someone's whole career and have them reach a milestone like this, because who knows if we'll see this again.
Wayne Gretzky congratulating Ovechkin in a mid-game ceremony.
I can tell you firsthand, I know how hard it is to get to 894. 895 is pretty special. My congratulations to not only Alex, his mom and dad, his family, his wife and kids. When I broke the record, my 2 kids were about the age of his boys, so it's kind of reminiscent for me, and I'm so happy that 2 of my boys are here tonight. But there's nothing better than the National Hockey League. They say records are made to be broken, but I'm not sure who's going to get more goals than that.
I kind of respect Wayne Gretzky coming in mid-game to go, as a reminder, I did do this already. Pretty big deal, and I am incredibly accomplished. Congrats, Ovechkin.
He's like, don't forget who the points leader is, though, right? He's got this. I got the points record, and he's probably not going to touch that.
Yeah.
This way to be classy about it. I remember when my record was broken at Wazoo. You know it's going to happen, and you're not sure how you're going to feel about it. Obviously, doesn't even compare to this. But once it happens and you see the joy in the person who broke the record, like, all right, man, it feels good. Like it hurts, but it's nice to pass the torch on to somebody else.
Did you say anything? Did you like Wayne give any kind of like little speech or maybe a text or a call?
I hit him up. I texted him.
Yeah,
said congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Headline
I think you should have
Rewind.
sent a passive-aggressive text like I did to Meg and just say, as someone who already set this record, maybe even if you did it in fewer games, you know what I mean? Just toss in like one little.
Yeah.
I will say the text line is saying I'm being fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're not being fair. I just know the energy you put out there.
Yes, I think there are instances where being passive-aggressive or stern are completely appropriate. Like, we don't always have to be polite people pleasers when someone's doing something that is annoying. That's kind of my take on it. I've settled on that this morning.
Headline 3, Vlad Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays have agreed to a 14-year, $500 million extension late Sunday night. What's the real headline?
So does this mean he's not available at this year's trade deadline, or can we still go with Vladdy Dottie?
Vladdy Dottie.
I think you give Colt Emerson and, Jesse Hahn and a couple of guys. I think you could have them, right?
Listen.
Just send over.
This just tells me we never were really in this thing. Just like Juan Soto and whoever else is available, Ohtani, we never were really in this because there's no way that the Mariners would offer anything close to this.
No.
But, you can dream. If you don't dream, what do you have? So I'll just keep dreaming whenever there's another big name out there and hope that we make a fake swing at that.
Why did Geno Smith request a trade? He finally spoke about the blockbuster move. Coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
We got Charlie Furbush in studio with us.
Logan Gilbert is like my spirit animal. How he pitches, how he attacks hitters, and right there behind him is Bryce Miller. I mean, when you look at an actual pitch, they both have this splitter now that is just incredibly effective. I was always jealous of guys that could throw that pitch because it really acts like a fastball a lot of ways, and then it comes in and drops off the table.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Brandy Cruz. Hey, Brandy, why? Why First Mark Insurance?
Service. I wondered for a second whether I was getting the VIP treatment, and I kind of asked, hey, is this what you do for everyone? And they're like, of course. The whole First Mark Challenge is meant to be personal, right? So it really is tailored and meant to be a personal experience for every single person. I will say I've just done whatever is the quickest and cheapest type of insurance, and I realized while I was doing it, wow, this is what it feels like to get insurance as a real adult. We had a million questions, and they walked us through every step of the process, and then they're working for you. So they're not working for insurance companies, they're working for you. To experience that level of service really shows you what the difference is with First Mark.
Brandy did it. My family did it. You got to do it. It's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge. See how much money they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Lee Johnson culture to me is empowering all of your employees to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. There are certain things that it doesn't matter what level of employment you are in our organization. If it's not the right thing or it doesn't feel right, they have the ability to take care of the customer and make the decision without asking a manager, without asking an owner. The end result is they can speak to the customer with more confidence. They're definitely more confident in what they're trying to provide the customer, what the customer is trying to accomplish, and just giving them a better experience.
His name is Justin Meek. He's the leader and caretaker of more than 300 full-time employees for the Lee Johnson Auto family. It's the united understanding among Lee Johnson employees that customers are the purpose of our day. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, dream engagement rings are our specialty. We have the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds, hand-picked in every price range, ready to compare side by side. Shop online at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Are you finding it hard to stay cool in your home during hot weather? The issue is likely your window's poor quality and lack of heat deflecting technology. Adrian here, owner of Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Our windows are 25% more energy efficient than Energy Star standards and come with high performance Sun Matrix glass, which can help keep the summer heat out. Combined with our leak armor installation, your comfort will be secured for a lifetime. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We finally heard from Geno Smith. I mean, quite literally heard from him. He's doing a press conference right now with the Raiders, but he also spoke with MMQB's Albert Breer about requesting a trade from the Seahawks, and we got a ton of insight with this one. I'll start with the reason that he requested it. Again, it's a multi-pronged answer. Bump. But the one that will surprise you the least is Seattle's lack of willingness to really commit beyond just this season versus the Raiders' willingness to. So he said that he and John Schneider had an honest talk last summer, and his big takeaway was that Seattle wanted to lean into its young core. While Schneider and the Seahawks did take what Albert Breer called a pretty significant swing at getting Smith to renew his contract, there was clearly a disconnect. The offer, says Breer, didn't make an exception to the Seahawks' general rule not to fully guarantee money in future years. So it was probably like Sam Darnold's contract. Guaranteed money's in 2025, and that's kind of it. It was well shy of where Smith's camp wanted to be an average per year, so his camp didn't bother to counter. What do you think of that? Was it fair for Smith to expect the Seahawks would change up their typical approach for him?
It's fair for him to ask, but not for him to expect it. Because there's nothing that they've done over the course of John Schneider being there that indicates that they would be willing to step out of what they're comfortable doing, right? You got to pick up on negotiation traits and tactics, and that's just what they've done. The reason why I think it's fair for Geno to ask for them to do that is because he's 34, and I know he hasn't had a lot of years, but this is the prime of his career. This is as good as it gets for Geno Smith. So he's supposed to try to capitalize on his abilities that he has left over, right? He completed 70% of his passes last year. No Seahawks quarterback has ever done that, and he did that behind an offensive line that was suspect. He went for 4,300 yards. He has 2 seasons out of the 3 where he's gone for over 4,200 yards. And look, he is one of the reasons why this team was able to be competitive. I know he has his flaws, and you can always point to his flaws. I understand that. But if there's no Geno Smith, this team isn't even competitive. They're 9-8, 8-7, 10-7, right? They are a team that you just couldn't sleep on, and a lot of it had to do with Geno's ability to push the ball down the field and make good decisions for the most part, right? There have been some suspect decisions. But he understands what he brought to this team, and he understands that without him, they wouldn't even be in this position. So now what do? At 34 years of age, you go ahead and try to get as much money as you can and try to secure your future. It's not just about 1 year, right? Geno, because he's 34, he's been in the league since 2013. He hasn't made the coin that a lot of these dudes have made. So this is opportunity. He has to do that. It's fair for him to ask for it, but not for him to expect it.
Okay, so this is a quote from Smith in the article. He said, Mike was good for us. I really enjoyed being with him for that season. Mike McDonald, obviously. But again, man, when you're talking about business and you're talking about a quarterback who wants to not only get paid, every player wants to get paid, but to be respected, that's the most important thing. It's the respect factor. And I just felt like there was a disconnect there. While he mentions Mike as part of this, I think he was talking about the organization itself. I think that this was also very related to the Seahawks not guaranteeing him money. Did the Seahawks, Geno thinks there wasn't respect. Did the Seahawks disrespect Geno Smith? That's a big question.
It is,
I get it,
man,
but like it's easier to answer for some players.
Disrespect would be, all right, we're going to give you $30 million. We're not going to offer you $40 to $45 million. I think Geno feels disrespected because they weren't willing to commit long term to him. But at the same time, I just pumped Geno up and said, look, these last 3 years, you wouldn't be in this situation without him. You can also point to his flaws now. If I'm the Seahawks, I'm looking at the red zone interceptions. I'm looking at 15 interceptions overall. I'm going to attribute some of these sacks to you. There are some things that you did that contributed to some of the shortcomings of this ball club. And now we're negotiating, and we're getting rid of feelings. And that's the tough part about negotiating with someone that you love and you care about, is that feelings are always going to get involved, even if you have a case to why you're offering what you are, and they have a case for why they are asking for what they are. If you just can't meet in the middle, you can't meet in the middle. So I wouldn't say they blatantly disrespected him, but I think that Geno was expecting them to again, step out of what they're used to doing, because I'm Geno, because I was here when Russell was here, because I've helped you guys stay competitive, because I've won ball games for you. And he's supposed to feel that way. But the Hawks are supposed to feel that way, too. They got to do what's best for them. And a 34-year-old guy who they think probably has reached his peak. This is as good as it gets. We can get that somewhere else and for cheaper and younger. And that's what they did.
I agree. I think there are things that are more obviously disrespectful, and this isn't one of them. To your point, offering him 32 is disrespectful, which by everything we've heard, it was $40 million in year one or 45 in year one. I can't remember. $40 million or at least in year one. Not locking up a player that is young and so clearly your franchise face would be disrespectful. That's obviously disrespectful. I think context from Geno's point of view makes this make sense. What Geno's saying is, for you to think that not only this year, but that next year you can easily replace my production is disrespectful. You don't have the number one overall pick. Well, from his point of view, he's looking around going, who do you have? Who are you going to get in here? You think a rookie is going to come in here? I know you're not going to have a number one pick, so you're clearly not bringing in Cam. this year. You're not going to have a number 1 pick next year unless you take some massive swing on a trade. Who are you bringing in that's better than me is what Geno's thinking. And I think there are people that are going, I genuinely don't know who's going to be better than him. So that maybe betting that you can replace Geno's production or that someone else can succeed behind this offensive line. I guarantee you Geno was privately telling people, you know what I mean? Like, it is hard to win here. It is hard to do what I'm doing, and I just get blamed over and over for stuff behind a bad offensive line.
I know for a fact that's how he feels.
Yes. And I can see that as disrespect. I can. Does it mean the Seahawks shouldn't have done it? No, now I'm curious. Now I want to see what happens. Like, I'm cool with it as me, Stacy, but as me, if I'm Geno, yeah, that's disrespectful.
There are some things that when you look at Geno's production, I think you can find a replacement. You might not find it next year. You might not find it the year after that. But to find that quarterback who puts up those type of numbers isn't very hard to find. Geno's value comes in other places. Geno's value comes with how he handles the wins and the losses at the podium, how he will give you an opportunity to win. Geno can win ball games for you. You know, I'm asking Sam Darnold, I'm like, listen, he should only have to win like 1 game for you, 1 or 2 games for you. With Geno, it's fair to ask, Geno, we need like 3, 4, 5 of these games. You have to win for us. That's what he brings. And when you just look at the number, yeah, you can find that. But there are other things that Geno brought to the table that's harder to find. And the reason why it's harder to find is because Geno's been through some stuff. And we know that out of all sports, quarterback, in my opinion, the toughest position to play because you get all the scrutiny and you have so much more responsibility than any other position in sports, right? It's the way you handle those things. And I think for the most part, and of course, there are going to be people who are going to point at Geno, get mad on the sidelines. Which quarterback does not get mad on the dang sidelines, all right? Like, we can find flaws in every quarterback, but there are the other things that Geno brought to the table. That's why he felt disrespected and saying, who are you going to find to deal with the things that I dealt with behind this offensive line? And I know for a fact that Geno wasn't happy, but he didn't go out to the public and telling people, man, if the O-line just would have done better. He always put it on himself. And that takes experience, and that takes a guy who understands what understands the bigger picture of this whole thing and the role that he plays in it. But 21 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 4,200 yards, you can find that.
I thought that this part of the article was interesting. It's about his relationship with Pete Carroll and how that extended beyond just Pete Carroll's tenure here in Seattle. Breer writes, as part of that, Geno knew that when he needed to vent a little, he found an unlikely sounding board over the course of the season, Pete Carroll himself. I would call him whenever I got frustrated, Smith said. He talked me through things and still coached me. I think that's what makes him a special man, is that he was coaching me even when he wasn't my head coach. A lot of the things he was telling me, a lot of the conversations we had really kept me steady throughout the season and kept my head on straight because, again, man, this is a team I gave everything I had to. There were points when Smith and Carroll talked daily. There were points when they didn't talk for weeks. Neither knew whether Carroll would get back into the NFL again.
Yeah, that's why he ended up in Las Vegas. He also, I read an article on our Pro Football Talk that Pete Carroll was there, obviously. Then you have Chip Kelly, who tried to recruit him when he was at Oregon. It seemed like everything just lined up for him. And you got to respect that because you're at the point of your career where if you have a leverage and you have options and you decide what you're doing with your career, you do it because most guys in the league are not going to have that option.
It's a really, really great read from Albert Breer, again, MMQB. It's fairly long, too. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there. Some of it is not going to be shocking. Geno wanted more guaranteed money than the Seahawks were willing to give him in 2025. Geno wants a team that believes in him in 2026, not just this year. But there's other stuff that's really insightful, a developing relationship with Tom Brady. They spent hours talking about longevity in the league. Really good stuff there from Albert Breer. It's hard right now to be very, very positive about the Mariners. We totally get it. But Julio made a fair point after this one. Should we be glass half full? That's next.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
We are now speaking with the architect of your Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans? With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Hey friends, Stacy Rost here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
The azaleas are blooming, and I can hear the theme song in my head right now. It's the Graz here, telling you the Masters is the start of the golf season. Why don't you indulge by booking a tee time at any of the 11 fantastic premier courses? That's Inter Bay, Jackson, Bill Wright, West Seattle, Cedar Crest, Bellevue, Linwood, Walter Hall, Legion Memorial, Lake Padden, and their newest course, the Ocean Shores Golf Course. Practice on the range with Top Tracer at Jackson, Inter Bay, and Bill Wright Golf Complex. Play the courses, play virtual, play premier.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Music that moves your soul. Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, April 24th. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com.
Hey, this is a great deal. Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement, incentivizing homeowners like you to book their roof replacement right now. It's Mike Salk here, and this is a great time to do it. The days are getting longer. Post 7 p.m. sunsets, those crews can get your roof done quick, just in time for the spring rains to keep your home dry and protected. Here's what you got to do to claim your $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Book a free estimate from their website, riversideroofingllc.com. And when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. $1,000 back in your pocket and a brand new roof over your head. Be sure to ask Brandon about their 35 years of local experience, their GAF Master Elite certification, which puts them in the top 3% of roofers nationally, and the catch-all system, which they use to keep your yard and driveway totally free of debris like nails and shingles. It's all at riversideroofingllc.com. Tell them Mike Salk sent you. Go to Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust. trust.
The Mariners are all about giving you more baseball for your buck. With Mariners Value Games, you can score seats starting at $10 on select dates all season long. Plus, be sure to check out the expanded Mariners Value Menu, available every game and featuring 14 items, all under $5. Enjoy ballpark classics like hot dogs and nachos, new treats like Pocky Sticks and Little Bites mini muffins, and more. Go to mariners.com/value to grab your value game tickets and check out the full slate of value options at T-Mobile Park.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
So the Mariners were swept. That's just facts. I can't change that. I don't like it. None of us like it. What I'm wondering is whether or not we should feel in any way glass half full exiting this series. I'll admit that I tend to lean towards glass half empty with almost everything in life, and that includes the Mariners. So this is also me trying to challenge myself, Bump, and I know that you're the same. Just as an analyst in general, you know, you kind of have to have a critical lens with everything. But there was some interesting sound from Julio following this one, and I wanted us to take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's going to happen. You know, I feel like we have a really good offensive team, and like I said, like they're one of the best teams right now, and like, you know, I know it's starting the season, but like we're right there with them. You know, and like I said, like they were on field advantage, but you know we can compete. We can compete, and that's something that I think we're all prideful for, to be able to compete against anybody, and yeah, I think we're going to be in a good spot.
We're a good offensive team. We were right there with San Francisco all weekend. Bump, you're a former athlete, and I know that there's part of the mentality of like, well, it wasn't a win. You know what I mean? Like, athletes typically don't love moral victories. Is there something to take from this weekend that's like that, though?
I mean, you put up 9 runs one game, you put up 4 the other game, and what do we expect Julio to say? Especially because he's having the best start of his career when it comes to the power numbers, right? He's got 3 bombs before April 6th. That's the fastest he's gotten to 3. Last year it took him forever, it seemed like, to get 1. And he's in this situation. He's living it every single day. He's going out there. He's Julio Rodriguez, the leader on this baseball team, and has to have that mind state. He has to look at it this way. There's no way he can leave the Bay Area and say, what the heck are we doing? We're supposed to be better than this. No, it's early in the season for him. We're not going to concede. We're not going to say that because we've seen this before, but he is in there and he is living it. And there are some things that are happening. Kyle's going yard a couple of times. Demo don't get enough love. More at-bats for Demo, please. Randy had his moments. Clutch down to your last strike the other game, and then he drives a run in. Victor has had his moments. Julio, I can see where he's coming from because he's able to compartmentalize things and just look at it for what it is. For us, we're big picture. We're like 10 games in. This is what we're seeing. This is what all the other great teams are doing. You're not going to be able to catch these guys. For him, no, this is the right mind state for him, and I think there is some truth to it. But I think that when you are 3-7 and you just got swept, you haven't won a series yet, people are going to look at the negatives and be concerned, and you have to look at that way if you're not living it. But he is.
We're a good offensive team doesn't feel true when you look at basic stats, batting average over the course of the season. Obviously, if you were to isolate it to this series, you go, man, like if you had a more complimentary play through these 3 games, maybe you're looking at a sweep. Maybe you're looking at a completely different outcome. But yeah, as you're right, like when you look at it, you know, in the whole of the season, and it's so hard to separate it from last year, and I don't think we should because it's mostly the same team. You're not a great offensive team.
No, numbers tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
You've done a decent job getting on base.
However, what might we need to see for us to have a little more wiggle room with our definition of a good offensive team? Like, we're looking at a big series here, Mariners against Houston, and then they're going to take on the Rangers. Come Friday, when you and I start the show, and maybe we revisit this as part of a segment, and we listened to sound on Monday of Julio saying, you know, we're a good offensive team, and we wondered whether we should be more glass half full. What would we need to see over the next 2 series to feel that way?
Driving in runs, the good old RISP, runners in scoring position. That's what good teams do. You get your guys on the corners, you get a guy on second and third, and you find a way to drive those runs in. That's what they've been struggling with the most. So Julio could be looking at this situation saying, well, we're getting guys on base. We have some power numbers. There's been an offense explosion one game. Our pitching just wasn't great. It was a bullpen day, essentially. Like, there are some things that are happening that are positive. But the good teams drive runs in. They find a way to do that. And that's just not what they're doing right now. You could hit bombs. Okay, solo home runs, it's fun to watch, but come on. I'd rather see a line drive into the gap with runners in scoring position and get a couple of those things in and call it good. So but what do we expect from Julio? He has to look at it this way. But a good offensive team, numbers are going to tell you otherwise. They don't look like a good offensive team.
They don't. And again, you mentioned solo home runs. Like, yeah, those are great. And it's important to know how many of those are sometimes solo shots. I mean, the Mariners are tied for 8th in home runs. It's very, very early. They're not touching the Yankees, those dang Yankees, or the Dodgers, 23 and 25 for those teams. But I mean, 12 home runs. Giants have 12, Reds have 12, Diamondbacks have 12, Rangers have 12, Nats have 12, Baltimore 11. You know what I mean? Like you're staying fine there, but as much as people want to knock average and knock basic stats, I am going to still turn to that. And there, you're 23rd. You know who's barely better than you right now? Houston. Houston hitting .216, 9 bombs as a club. Maybe you're catching Houston at a time when you can make up some ground.
Well, they're 4-5. They haven't done anything great. They also got swept by the Giants, 7-2, 3-1, and 6-3. When we look at runs batted in, they're right below you at 24. You know, but the thing about Houston is that they've shown us that they can have a start like this and play average for most of the season, but then turn that thing on. Why? Because of the personnel that they have. The Mariners have never been able to do that. They can turn it on and keep it close to keep it interesting, but at some point you feel like it's too good to be true. It's not going to happen. With the Astros, they have such a culture and some pillars on that team that have done it that you believe. Yeah, they only driven in 24 runs. In the Mariners 28. They got swept by the Giants too. But we're still going into this series like, all right, boys, let's see what we can do. Come on, we need this.
All right, head to the Mac and Jack's text line. Someone said wins. Someone else said RISP. Runners driving in runners in scoring position, obviously really huge. Someone said Frisco looks like a legit club this year. And there is something to be said about the quality of opponent with which you sweep or are swept. Someone else said, this sounds like participation trophy talk, or rather that Julio's comments do. I'm going to throw it back to you to kind of wrap up this segment by revisiting the first thing you said. What else is he going to say? I think, though, it's important for athletes to see it that way. What do you want Julio to say? We don't have enough around us. I can tell you immediately what you guys would say about Julio. It would be, well, why don't you do more? Of course he has to say that.
What's the word that I use, see if you remember, to describe the mentality of athletes? They are
crazy.
Delusional.
They're
delusional. You have to be. There's no way you're going to be 10 games into this thing and be like, I don't know what we're going to do. I just don't know.
We'll see.
All right, and you're looking at your leader, right? Even if you guys think he's not a leader, he is a leader. You get paid the most on this team. You get the highest expectations. You are a leader on this team. They feel that energy. They listen to what he's saying. It matters. He has to have the right messaging. Now, he might have a homie on the side he's keeping it real with, like, hey, if Randy don't get going, well, Randy's going. If we don't figure out what happened at third base, if JP don't start doing it, we might be in trouble. But right now, they're still in the fight, even though they're not a good offensive team. You're a team that can hit some bombs and be streaky at times, but not a good offensive team.
Could Shedeur Sanders fall outside the top 10? Will the Seahawks go defense at 18? Plenty of NFL draft talk with Nick Baumgardner. He's coming your way next.
The Cal Raleigh Show.
Belted way out of here to right field. Holy smokes.
Every Thursday with Shannon Dreyer on Wyman and Bob.
Seattle has been nothing but good to me. I would love nothing more to play for one team my whole career.
Listen live on the Seattle Sports app or find the video on YouTube.
Cal Raleigh with a walk-off home run.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
47,000 fans are going crazy.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund returning 9% has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit legacyg.com. That's legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
This year, tee it up at home with Synthetic Turf Northwest. Dial in your yard and your short game is sure to follow. Synthetic Turf Northwest is your synthetic grass expert. Install a custom backyard putting green or just a mud and mow-free lawn the neighbors will envy. They do it all. Residential, commercial, and turf supply. With locations in Woodinville and soon Fife. Mention Seattle Sports and save up to $1,000 off your project. Visit syntheticturfnorthwest.com.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
To me, the LJ way is to provide an experience that people really enjoy being a part of. And they enjoy being a part of it because they're getting great service. They're talking with somebody that actually they feel cares about them. They care about what their impression is going to be walking away. It's also understanding you're now part of our family, and thank you for doing the business with us. And this is how we're going to show our appreciation through customer service. We're going to show our appreciation with taking care of you if you ever have an issue. The majority of the people that are coming to see us are within our community. These are people who are providing maybe services that we also use in our community. So the LJ way, to me, somebody can come into a retail setting and not feel like they got to have their guard up. And that's been a long-standing thing in the car business that, you know, we've tried to shake.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown is disappearing. Hair loss had me feeling like I was losing my identity altogether. Well, I've got some good news. It's a simple one-day treatment that worked for me. The Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. It starts growing new hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly memberships. Those can help retain what you have. But what if you want your own natural hair in specific areas like I did? You decide how much, how thick, and where. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to the world-class leading doctors like Dr. Perungo, it's not a maybe your hair will grow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. Advanced Hair is the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and they are the team that I personally recommend. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
It's a battle of number one seeds, Florida and Houston in the men's NCAA basketball championship today at 5:50 p.m. Florida slight favorites. Total points expected around 141.5. Money line moving toward Houston late. The 3-7 Mariners open a series against the 4-5 Astros today at 6:40 p.m. Pregame show starts at 5:30 right here on Seattle Sports.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio
This is Bump and Stacy.
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Talking NFL draft with the Athletics' Nick Baumgardner joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Nick, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. We are happy to have you on. We do have lots of Seahawks questions. I'm going to start with a non-Seahawks question, though, and I'm heading right to the top of the draft. It feels inevitable at this point that it's Cam Ward at number 1 overall to the Titans. I'm less curious about where you think Cam will go because I think everyone's kind of settled on it, and how you think Cam will be. Did you see enough from him, hear enough about him to feel really confident in a good rookie season?
That's really hard. Yes and no, because I think that I would say he has a very unique story in that he's improved every year he's been in college. And if you go all the way back, to when he was at Incarnate Word, coming out as a, wing T quarterback who really had no throwing experience in high school, he has gotten so much better. And I think that a lot of scouts early in the process talked about how they thought, that would be something that could translate to the NFL. Like, he's going to continue to get better. He's still a very young quarterback in terms of experience years, all that sort of thing. So I do think he's going to get better. I think he's a tough kid. I think he's, tough-minded, all that stuff. And I think he'll be able to sort of, get through the wavy stuff that's going to happen on a team like Tennessee. But that's my hesitation with stuff like this. Like, Tennessee's not a quarterback away from being, what we would call a good team. And they're going to put a lot of strain on him. Like, it's going to be hard to sort of put that on your back and carry the load. Like Caleb Williams found out last year, Drake May found out the same thing. It's not easy to do. And if I have a question about, how he'll perform, is he going to be able to do all those things and not just completely fall apart, like we've seen from like a Bryce Young at times, even though Bryce has kind of come back and gotten it back together a little bit, or even worse would be Anthony Richardson, who hasn't quite gotten it back together yet. So I still have a little bit of concern there. But I do like Cam Ward a lot. And I think he's a top 10 pick in this draft. And you're at 1, you need a quarterback, as well. I mean, he's the guy to do it, no question about it for me in this class. So I like him. I think he's got a chance, but I do have some hesitation just because the Titans aren't good, and it's going to be hard for him to do a lot with little.
Hey, Nick, we spent a lot of time talking about quarterbacks and edge rushers and all that stuff when it comes to the draft, but there's a young man who had a great season, and the closer we get to the draft, the less I hear his name is Ashton Jeanty. And I know that people are hesitant to draft running backs high, even though in 2023 you got Bijan Robinson who goes 8, Gibbs who goes 12 overall, and they seem to have worked out, but they're a different type of running back. What's the noise around Ashton Jeanty? What do you expect, and what mocks have you seen? Where do you see him going?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like Ashton's one of those guys that was so good for so long that people just were like, okay, let's not even just cross him off. He's fine. He's good. And he's sort of in that bucket. And it's unique to say that about a running back, but I really feel like that's why we haven't probably heard as much about him in the draft process, because you heard so much about him during the season. All the yards he had, 2,600 yards, whatever it was. And he was just so far and away the best prospect running back-wise in this class, not even close. And for me, I think he's a top 10 draft pick. I think that the expectation around the league is for him to go somewhere in the top 10. I like him with the Raiders, frankly, right there at 6. That almost makes too much sense. If he falls out of the top 10, I'm not sure he would get beyond Dallas at 12. I feel like Ashton's one of those guys that stacks up with Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, to a lesser extent maybe Saquon Barkley, in that you're having a conversation about a guy who, if you draft him, he can come in and play in any scheme. He can perform and execute in any situation. You'd never have to take him off the field. He's a gap runner. He's an outside zone, inside zone guy. He can catch the ball. He was a receiver at times in high school. He actually played receiver at high school and quarterback. So, I mean, he's one of the smartest offensive weapons and one of the most consistent, really, in this class, almost effortless at times. And the thing that I always round it up with is two things. Like, he reminds me of LaDainian Tomlinson at times, which I don't know how much higher of a praise you can give. And he's also, the most productive college back we've seen since Barry Sanders, which is also a pretty crazy comp. So I love him. I think he's terrific. I think this is an awesome running back class. He and Omarion Hampton are the two class players of this group, but it's a really good group with, 25 guys, I think, maybe that could end up getting picked.
So hard to predict what's going to happen every single year. I mean, the best draft analysts, Nick, you know this, you're one of them. Like, you'll try to plot out what you think is going to happen, and then you go, God, who saw this
Yeah, I
coming out, right? Who saw this video of Laramie Tunsil coming out? No one.
Right, yeah.
Just random things. So I understand that with the question I'm about to ask, it's fair to go, yeah, I don't know. But the Seahawks are picking kind of middle of the first. They're at 18 overall. We have our projections of what we think they should do or can do.
Yeah.
But is there a name or someone that you think, like, this person has fall potential, like this person has the potential to be available in the middle to late first round when in any other year they probably wouldn't be?
Yeah, there's a couple this year, based on, and there's a lot actually, because after the top like 7 or 8, it's going to be really kind of wide open in terms of, who likes who and where everything falls. But there's one, Will Johnson, the kid from Michigan, the cornerback, who did not play like at all this year. He had I think he hurt his hamstring or something pretty early and just shut it down, and then hasn't done anything. He hasn't worked out much. He's afraid to run the 40, I think, because he doesn't have terrific long speed. But if you put the tape on with him, it is really, really difficult to find any way that, you're looking at a guy who's got terrific length at like 6'2" with great long arms, really good agility, really good burst, outstanding IQ. I think he actually said this the other day. He's got more pick sixes than teams threw touchdowns against him. If you watch that year where Michigan won the national title last year, the year before last anyway, he was one of the best defensive players in the country. So, but he's also a guy, like we just said, he didn't play much. He could slide. I think to me, he's the guy that I look at the most and say he could be a guy that falls in terms of like total value. That could be the other guy that maybe isn't on the board for Seattle. Just because they finished their quarterback or they got the new quarterback in there, but it would be Shedeur Sanders. And I just don't know. There's a lot of buzz. Obviously, some teams still think that he could go top 3, top 10. I'm not sure or sold on that. I think that he could absolutely fall. I think for me, Shedeur is closer to Tyler Shuck and Jackson Dart than he is Cam Ward. So we're going to see how that always plays out too. The quarterback derby is always an interesting one way or the other.
It feels like, if we're going off of what John Schneider has told us and what he's done when it comes to the draft, right, we shouldn't expect a guard to go early in this thing. Not at 18. I'm not expecting it, at least. Maybe in the 50s. Who knows? But is there an offensive lineman you feel like no one's really talking about, but you think would be a good fit in this wide zone scheme that Kubiak's bringing over?
There's a few. As you go further down, I like Tyler Booker up there quite a bit. Actually, I like Gray Zabel as well. I think both of those guys are probably going to end up somewhere in the first round. As you go down, though, I think that, it's interesting. There's a lot of guys who are, center guard combos, some guys that played a lot of tackle in college that are going to have to move inside as well. Kelvin Banks, the kid from Texas, I think might end up moving inside. But the kid from Georgia, Tate Ratledge, is, I think, probably the best run-blocking guard that you'll find in this class. He's a little bit limited in some areas athletically. He's not real long. Although he's not a bad athlete, you could say maybe he could be a little bit more agile, I suppose, in some areas. But he's a guy who was he got everything done that was needed to get done at Georgia, all the way across the board. Every time he was in there, and he was a longtime starter there at Georgia. Big guy with big hands, who's very powerful and explosive off the ball. Who's just he's going to win a fist fight over the ball. Which at a guard, like we're talking about, whether it be outside zone or you want to go back inside. I think he can handle both, and I think he's a guy that I've looked at even for Seattle. If they don't address offensive line in the first round, he'd be a guy that would be right there. That could possibly be someone they'd look at. Also, Dylan Fairchild, a little bit later, his teammate there at Georgia was also very good. Wyatt Milam is a tackle. He played tackle at West Virginia, but I think he's going to end up having to move back inside to guard as well. He's another one who I think eventually could translate well to playing inside.
I'm sure that when you come up with mocks or go through and try to predict what teams might do or, just kind of prep in general for the draft, part of it is team need, looking at the roster, and part of it, Nick, is an understanding of what a front office typically does, right? Maybe it's a respect level you have for their front office or a lack of respect for certain front offices that have just missed the mark. I'm curious about how you see Seattle's front office.
It's interesting. Like they make good picks. It's not that they don't. Right. But oftentimes I find myself saying, man, they still need the same thing. Like, why am I still sitting here saying they need more guards? And, like, why has that not been addressed? And I think that's the one thing with them where sometimes I do wonder if because I think they've always had a really good scouting department there. It's been that way forever. They've had, execs go out and be GMs elsewhere. Whether they survive or not is another story. But I think that they do a really good job of scouting, and I think sometimes, they can say, oh, I really like this guy a lot. We might not need it so much, but we're just going to do it, and I think that ends up creating some of these problems that you just never really fix. And for me, it's still over the ball for Seattle, which is interesting because it didn't used to be that way. I almost wonder if they allowed that, they got comfortable with some things and allowed that to sort of rust out longer than it needed to. But now that's where I sort of look at it. It's been like 2 or 3 years now where we've been talking about, you need to fix the inside, the interior of your offensive line and give yourself a chance to have, some balance on offense. Because I think if you do that, you have some pieces there that could maybe surprise some people, right? And you're not going to be able to do anything with Sam Darnold unless you protect, over the ball like that. So that to me is the one sort of caveat. They always find talent in Seattle. They seem to make it work to where they're competitive. But the last few years, it's been, I almost feel like there needs to be a little bit more discipline in terms of don't shoot your shot as much and sort of understand that you do need to fix some areas here in the draft. And it can't always just be the absolute best talent, whatever it is on the board, regardless of situation, regardless of – and Seattle has had a lot of success with that over the years, as we know, taking guys that might even have some character concerns and it works out for them one or the other. So they take chances, and I like that, but also I think sometimes they need to be a little more diligent. Like that's my one criticism of them, because it does feel like we're here again talking about, they need more guards. And it's like, well, we just said that last year and the year before. And you know what I mean? And it's like at some point that needs to get taken care of.
Hey, Nick, the wideout spot has been interesting to me this year. I mean, depends on who you ask, right? Travis Hunter, McMillan from Arizona, you got Golden, you got Burden, and all those guys. But the guy that I've heard criticized the most is McMillan, and mainly because Steve Smith Sr. kind of went out there and said, look, I don't like this about him or that about him. Yeah. Where do you think he lands, and what's the difference between him and Matthew Golden? I know their size and speed or whatnot, but Matthew seems like the more polished receiver, but McMillan gives me more big playability.
Yeah, I think with McMillan, you really got to go back and look at the 2023 tape as well as 2024. And some of the criticisms of him are valid. I think last year at times he could float a little bit. I don't know if disinterest or whatever was a thing. I almost argue, I keep saying I wish he'd have transferred to like an SEC team or a team with a better quarterback situation to where we could have seen more from him. But that is definitely a concern or a criticism. He was not nearly as dominant last year as he was 2 years ago. Though he still had some pretty crazy days. And that, to me, is why I still think he's a top 10 pick. I think when you put everything together with him, everything he can do in the air, everything he can do in terms of adjusting his body with the size, with the run-after-catch ability that he has. I know he doesn't have the great 40 or whatever. I also don't really care as much for a guy that's that big and that versatile. I think that is the ultimate difference there. Plus, we have seen it from him, even though we're nitpicking at a year where last year he had 1,300 yards and 84 catches, which is still pretty outstanding. It just wasn't as awesome as it was 2 years ago. The difference there would be, obviously, apart from the size, a guy like Golden, it's just been the 1 year, right? It's just been, he was awesome, don't get me wrong, but it really hasn't been a long stretch where he's played at this level and, really had a dominant, whatever stretch or season, whatever it might be. Whereas we know that, we've seen it from McMillan, with not a very good quarterback, whereas Golden was able to play with a better quarterback, I'd argue, at least this past year anyway. So, but I do love Golden a lot. Him and Emeka Egbuka, even Jalen Noel, the kid from Iowa State, you mentioned Burden. There's a lot of guys that are crafty, that know how to get open, know how to make things happen. Golden has all those things, and he's also crazy fast, 4.29 with the 1.49 split. So really like him. I think Matthew Golden was one of the highest risers, maybe of anybody this year. Not the guy that we thought was going to be Texas's big stud, coming out this year. Isaiah Bond got all the love preseason, and some of the other young guys as well that they have on that team. But it ended up being Matthew Golden, which I think is a really good thing for him, because I think he might end up being, maybe even in the top 15 by the time it's all said and done, because of a guy who's just very consistent, tough, does his job. He was a flashy player in terms of speed, but not a lot of flash otherwise, just a very consistent producer.
Nick, tell us what to keep an eye out for as we head up to the draft here, a couple more weeks for some draft content.
Yeah, we've still got some more mock drafts. Plus, also at The Athletic, The Beast, Dane Brugler's gigantic draft guide will be out tomorrow, matter of fact, which is, this year, it's over 500 pages.
Oh, my God.
And that comes with your subscription. So it's like,
well, good to know.
I cannot remember. I've been around Dane for a long time. I cannot remember a year where a guy has been drafted or signed in a UDFA contract that has not been in this draft guide. So that'll be our big one coming out this week. So stay tuned for that.
Good to know. The Athletics' Nick Baumgardner, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Thanks, Nick. Have a good one.
Thanks, Nick.
You bet. Take care, guys.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down. What did Vrabel do that gave you flashbacks from high school?
Flashback, Stacy.
Was it pop out a Now CD?
No.
Did he wear really, really baggy shorts that are now back?
Yeah, my son asked me for jorts. I go, those are back? He goes, yeah. And then he cuts his own jeans and made them into jorts. I go,
Yeah.
wow, this is crazy right now.
My favorite thing is that young people are always going to think, like, we were the first.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that's also what we did. Like, I remember
we
hearing
were the
songs.
first, though, to wear baggy jorts.
But think of it this way. I remember hearing songs that were sampled, and I had no idea they were sampled.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's just that thing about youth where your entire world is you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Vrabel brought me back to that feeling. He said he wrote voluntary letters to players to attend the voluntary workouts. When I was in high school, the summer workouts for football, I'm doing air quotes, were voluntary. You knew dang well if you didn't go to those workouts, you were not making a football team. There are some guys on the Patriots who don't need to go to those voluntary workouts because they're set, but they're probably going to do it anyway. You have a new head coach. You're supposed to be around this team as much as possible. If we're talking Baltimore, Chiefs, Bills, teams that are established, I wouldn't expect Josh Allen to be at all those things. I wouldn't expect some of those ballers to, but because you're starting all over and you're so young over there, you better show up to these voluntary workouts. So it brought me back to Culver City High School, and it brought me back to Wazoo. At Wazoo, I used to come back to school like a month or two early to go to these voluntary workouts because you understand what it does. It builds team camaraderie. It gets you around your coaches. You're able to get to know their personalities and kind of size everybody up, too, because you're on the same team, but you are competing for playing time as well. I read that article about Vrabel writing voluntary letters to get guys to go to voluntary workouts. This felt like 2001 all over again, Culver City High School.
Also, so he's handwriting letters being like, hope to see you there.
Hope to see you there.
You know, if you got a letter from your head coach, who you know is an old school head coach, who's been around great coaches and organizations, that the expectation, wow. Honestly, good on you, Mike Vrabel. Second down. What do you feel Geno has wrong about the situation in Vegas?
Now, he didn't say this directly, but I'm reading between the lines, and he just feels like it's such a better situation over there. Because, man, Pete Carroll is over there, Chip Kelly, Tom Brady is associated, and maybe on a personal level, it is better. But now let's talk about some football. We talk about football. The Raiders had the 6th worst offense overall in the game. When it comes to throwing the football, they're middle of the pack around 12 to 13. Running the football, they were the worst team in the NFL running the football. We're talking about points being scored. They're near the bottom of there as well. We're 4th to last when it comes to putting up points, 18 points per game. There is so much work that has to be done in Las Vegas. I understand what entices him to go there. I'll talk about the relationships, and you have a guy in Brock Bowers who's going to be one of the best tight ends in the game. But now let's talk about your depth chart, though. Jacoby Myers is cool. You got Kyle Phillips, receiver out of UCLA, who I liked back in the day when he was at UCLA. He has 23 receptions and 259 yards and no touchdowns. And then you talk about the other guy you have over there. You got Trey Tucker over there, 47 receptions for 539. The personnel isn't there. And Geno's going to be asked to do even more over there than he would have been asked to do over here because the change in the offense with Kubiak and hopefully being able to run the football. So, yes, on a personal level, I'm happy for Geno. He probably feels great. He's been talking to Pete all season. He's got his guy. But when we break it down to football, there's a lot of work to be done. And the way he's talking about the situation makes it seem like he forgot you got to play Kansas City twice. You got to play the Chargers twice. And Denver ain't no chumps neither. You just made your job that much harder, but you did get your guaranteed money. You got some confidence put up in you, so I'm happy for you when it comes to that. But I think it's going to be real tough over there for him.
3rd down. What's something that was overblown this weekend?
Shedeur Sanders patting the dang ball. Patting the ball. And I had to make sure I wasn't tripping because, you know that movie, Any Given Sunday?
Yes.
Al Pacino's like, stop patting the ball. And Jamie Foxx is like, I'm still Willie Beeman. I'm still going to pat the ball. I'm going to throw the football. So I went back and I looked at the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. and he pat the heck out of that football before he threw it. Then I went and looked at Pat Mahomes. He pats the heck out of the football. Most quarterbacks are going to pat the football. So there was a DB who sent out a tweet that said, you better start patting that ball. We're going to break all over it. And then someone posted a video of him breaking on a football late, getting ran over, and the guy making a play. This is football, man. If you believe in the pat, I've seen Pat Mahomes pat it once and let it go. I've seen him pat it 2 times, let it go. I've seen him pat it once, roll out, pat it again, and let it go. Patting the football is so overblown to me.
Yeah.
It is an indicator that the quarterback is ready to throw the football, but man, you're going to see that clearly from 15, 20, 30 yards away and breaking the ball like that, and then you're going to take your chances. What are you going to put on film? A quarterback's going to see you break at the pad. He's going to pump you, and then you're gone. So people are always looking to break Shedeur Sanders down.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't like him. I don't care. But now we're talking about patting the dang ball like that. It's not that serious.
Why do you think it is? Like, why do you think they're looking to take him down?
He's not your traditional quarterback. Him or Cam. Cam isn't that either, but Cam hasn't grown up with the privilege that Shedeur Sanders has grown up with. So people are ready to attack the guy with some privilege because he's been rich his whole life. He's not starting from the bottom, now we here. I've already been here. I've just been waiting my turn because my dad is Deion Sanders. So it's the way that he does his thing and his upbringing, which people don't like. But so be it, man. It happens all the time.
Can I say one tiny thing about patting the ball as a tip or a tell? There are certain things that are a tip or a tell that a player will do where it's like, if you genuinely didn't know where that play was going and maybe, this guard does this certain thing before a run or whatever, then you can kind of pick up on it. Or like this tight end comes out, that they're not going to throw to whatever. If someone's rolling out of the pocket and we're talking about 4 seconds of a lap, what do you think he's going to do? Like, he's already looking downfield. There's 20 tells in this play already where you go, he is clearly looking to take a shot. Yeah, he's patting the ball, but at that point, you know exactly what this quarterback's going to do. Yeah. Like, maybe there's nothing there, and all of a sudden someone breaks out in the flat, and it's like, oh, wow, okay. But, like, most of the time, if a player's going to really throw it deep, it's kind of obvious that that's what's going to happen.
And there are route combinations.
Unless it's like a quick release.
There are route combinations that hold you. Like, just a simple flood combo. You have a flat, 10-yard out, and a goal on the outside. If you're the safety and he pats the football and he's looking to the right, you can't tell if he's going high or low with his eyes, really. It could be somewhere intermediate.
Yeah.
It's just, they're blowing it up. Leave Shedeur alone. I can't wait till he gets drafted so we can stop trying to pick him apart.
But where will he be drafted? 4th down. We had on draft expert Nick Baumgardner of The Athletic on with us. Anything stand out from our talk with him?
Yeah, it's funny hearing him talk about McMillan because, again, they're picking him apart. He had 100 less yards than the year before and 2 less touchdowns, but had more yards per catch. And this is what the NFL draft is. You are picking this man apart. 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns in 2023. 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2024. Had a longer reception in 2024 with 78 yards. There are some things that you're going to be able to pick apart when it comes to him, but it's funny just how everyone's focusing on the negatives with this young man and are hating on him. So, you know what, McMillan? Go get your money and prove these people wrong. I hope you do.
Hater police out here, but you're policing haters.
I'm policing them, man.
Someone said, did you see the video, though, Stacy? Buddy was tipping. I got to go watch it. I'm going to watch it. That's going to be my commercial break. I'm going to go check it out right now. I did see, I saw some route running from it. It was really funny. I'll show you that. Yeah.
From Travis?
Where it was like playing at Thanksgiving when you had a little too much. All right. Coming up in the timeline, Bryce Harper has some tough feedback for people who hate the Dodgers. Plus, the Pirates tried to get away with some shameful behavior. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
We feel like they have the players. But do they have it on the offensive line? That's a huge question mark. The only thing that I guess keeps me from being too anxious about the O-line, when they see a problem, they tend to rectify it right there. I mean, both of your offseason acquisitions at linebacker didn't make it to the end of the season. Why would that be any different with the O-line? If you looked at somebody on that line and said, this guy just does not have it, he'd be gone.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Collectors, Front Row Car Show is returning to Tacoma. Join us at the Greater Tacoma Convention Center on April 12th and 13th. Baseball, football, basketball, and hockey cards, plus collectibles such as Pokemon, Marvel, Star Wars, and comic books. SGC, CGC, and JSA will be there. So bring your cards, comics, and autographs to sell, trade, or get them graded. Hundreds of vendors, thousands of dollars in free prizes. Don't miss it. Front Row Card Show, Greater Tacoma Convention Center, Saturday and Sunday, April 12th and 13th, 11 to 5. For more info, go to frontrowcardshow.com. That's frontrowcardshow.com.
The azaleas are blooming, and I can hear the theme song in my head right now. It's the Graz here, telling you the Masters is the start of the golf season. Now, why don't you indulge by booking a tee time at any of the 11 fantastic premier courses? That's Inter Bay, Jackson, Bill Wright, West Seattle, Cedar Crest, Bellevue, Linwood, Walter Hall, Legion Memorial, Lake Padden, and their newest course, the Ocean Shores Golf Course. Practice on the range with Top Tracer at Jackson, Inter Bay, and Bill Wright Golf Complex. Play the courses, play virtual, play premier.
Hello, Seattle. It's your friendly neighbor, the T-Mobile Park roof. From up here, I can see it all. Folks pouring in from the street, the sun setting over the sound, the roar of the crowd as Luis Castillo pumps his fist, and the joy of the J-Rod squad as Julio snares a deep fly ball at the wall.
He reaches up with a leap and he makes the catch.
And all the faces smiling with every perfectly grilled hot dog and swirl of soft serve. When the final out's made, I'll be right up here, lighting the W and soaking it all in. Mariners baseball. Try it inside.
The Mariners have an incredible slate of events during this week's homestand. Don't miss the Cal Platinum Glove Bobblehead 3-day giveaway tonight through Wednesday, Corduroy Hat Night presented by Alaska Airlines this Friday, and more. Go to Mariners.com to get your tickets and check out the complete lineup of special events.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Let's talk about your hair. Well, maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and $250 free hair hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you, guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see and hear about on your own timeline. We're going to start in the world of baseball. Bryce Harper doesn't want to hear anyone's complaints about how the Dodgers have built their organization. This is what Bryce had to say.
I don't know if people like this, but I feel like only losers complain about what they're doing. I think they're a great team. They're a great organization. That's why guys want to go there and play. LA's a great city to play in, obviously. It's, they're at the mecca of kind of the world of everything, right? From food to nightlife to sports, from the Dodgers to the Lakers to anybody. So, they're going to continue to get guys. They're going to continue to pull guys from, this sport. And if that's bullpen, starting pitching, international players, anything like that, they're doing what the Dodgers do.
Bryce is right. Bryce is right.
The Bryce is right.
The Bryce is right.
Listen, I haven't heard someone gas up LA like that in a long time.
Now, he didn't need to
He
go
said the
all in
mecca
on
of
that. That was a
everything.
little excessive.
He said everything.
I don't want to go
The
to
mecca.
LA. I don't know about that.
Oh, but listen, he also plays for the team that spends the fourth most on his roster. He's like, what are you talking about? You're the way your bank account is set up, you're not able to do that.
Right, this is
What
my checking my savings.
the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Mets do. They spend money. And I think it's important that his fans hear that and that his organization hears that, because he's literally supporting what they're doing as well, because they spend money the fourth most, and they're 7-2. Look at the teams who spend the most money. Mets is 6-3. Their fans are cool, I'm sure. Dodgers 9-2. Their fans are cool. Yankees 6-3. Philly 7-2. Bands.
We're the Braves.
Ooh-wee. Oh, yeah. They're 1-8, and they're 8th.
They'll be fine.
But listen, exactly. Why would they be fine? Because you're looking at
they
that
have
roster.
stars.
You're looking at that roster. So no, this is important for Bryce. He said this is baseball, essentially, is what he said. If you're not willing to spend money, then I don't want to hear you crying about it because other teams have more money.
There is an element of fairness that I can completely understand. Look, the Mariners could really stretch themselves thin, and so could several other markets, and still wouldn't have what the Dodgers have to spend. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of a team spending is cheating. Like when people, that's not fair. Shut
Cheating
up.
is taking steroids.
You know what?
cheating.
Put Barry Bonds in the hall. While we're on the topic, to that point, I don't even care that much about that. I mean, don't do it actively in the game, but it doesn't make you some horrible person in baseball history to do what so many other players have done. I went on a tangent. I'm getting back to spending.
Now it's cheating.
Now
Back
it's
then
cheating.
it wasn't cheating.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it was, but it was different.
They weren't on it for that.
Everyone was doing it.
Everyone was doing it.
Look, we need to get back to the topic of spending, and I will, to say that I too, like Bryce, get a little annoyed when I hear a phrase like, well, they're buying a team. They're buying a championship. Okay.
Every team has bought a championship.
It's baseball. You're allowed to do that. And not only that, but they also still develop their guys. They still make smart trades. They still hang on to people they should hang on to. You know what I mean? There's still smart free agency moves. It's not like the Dodgers are out here, buying Nimbus 2000s for the whole team.
Listen, everyone
You get what I'm
buys their
saying.
championship. Sometimes you don't have to spend that much to win a championship. It's like, when my son goes out and I look at his squad and their fits, some of them are expensive fits, and it's cool. And then sometimes you get the cheap fit that's just hidden like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what buying teams are. Sometimes the expensive fit just ain't it, but a lot of times it is it.
He didn't have to go all in on praising LA though.
Hey, listen.
I thought that was laying out.
I wouldn't move back to LA and live unless I was pulling $10 million a year. But I appreciate that.
I
appreciate it.
I don't know about that one, Bryce. Moving on. The Pittsburgh Pirates tried to replace a sign. It's not just any sign. It was for Pirates legend Roberto Clemente, and it was out in right field, on the padding at PNC Park's right field corner. So here's what happened. There wasn't some announcement or anything done. There was just randomly a beer ad there. And maybe they were hoping no one would notice, but everyone super did. And now they're restoring it. So the Pirates said, oh, no, we have 2 displays. And this one in right field was just a temporary wall display that we used for advertisements for many years. This is what the team president said. When we didn't have a sponsor coming out of COVID, so beginning in 2022, we just added that element to honor the legacy of Roberto. It was a replica of the Three Rivers Stadium signage honoring him. So they were like, this was never the permanent display. That being said, they obviously since apologized.
Come on, man. He's the best player in your organization's history. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's a 15-time All-Star, 2 times World Series champion, NL MVP, World Series MVP, 12 Gold Glove Award winner, 4-time National Batting Champion. You think people ain't going, and his numbers retired for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You think people aren't going to recognize that? Come on, man. Nothing should be touched when it comes to Roberto Clemente. You leave everything as is or you make it better. You don't replace him for some signage.
Do you want to know my conspiracy theory on this one?
Please.
I don't think this was intended to be a temporary display.
No.
I understand what they're saying about like, hey, we have used this for advertisements before and we just didn't. But also you're telling me that for the year 2022, 3, 4, you didn't once have an ad that you could run there. Now, maybe they didn't, but I don't actually think that this was intended to be temporary. I think that they thought, oh, we're going to have this here. It'll be really, really cool. And then maybe someone in their sales and marketing department was like, oh, we can get a ton of money for taking over this space. Why hasn't anyone done this? And they were like, oh, we actually used to. Let's do it again. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it was not supposed to actually be temporary. I think they're lying.
It's Roberto Clemente. Did I say the Steelers? I'm sorry. The yellow and black.
Oh,
just,
it happens.
Good job, Pittsburgh, the city, getting all their teams to rock the same
It's
colors.
crazy how he played for 2 teams.
Yeah. He was Dion before Dion.
You know what I mean? We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that enough. But yeah, man, it wasn't temporary. You just got an offer that you felt like you couldn't refuse, and you sacrificed one of your legends. And the fans are not dumb. All right, they pay attention to things.
Yeah. Anyways, so they're bad. They're putting it back on the padding out there.
Bet you know what? They're gonna put it back.
I know.
Tripping.
One of the stranger sights from Houston's postgame celebration of their win against Duke was a security guard not letting Hakeem Olajuwon onto the court to congratulate his alma mater on the title game berth. Here's the thing. As a security guard, you got to do your job, okay? But you got to exercise a little discretion. If you have a list of people of who can walk out there, there are just certain people you kind of got to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're guarding the gate at VMAC and you don't have John Schneider on a list, but he pulls up, he clearly works, he can go there.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Houston could have helped this situation out, though.
Yeah.
They could have made it clear, hey, there's going to be a 7'2" big black man who is going to walk to the court. He's going to stand out.
Wearing Houston gear.
He's going to stand out, okay? He's not going to look like anybody else you see. He's a legend. You let him go wherever he wants to go. Houston could have helped that situation out, but the security guard as well. Come on, man.
Someone said, how old was he, 10? And I'm imagining how hilarious it would be, objectively hilarious, to have a child as a security guard for the celebration.
Come on, man.
Just like, no, you can't come
That's
here.
Hakeem Olajuwon, the dream. Some of the best footwork in the post we've ever seen. Players still go to him for footwork help over there, man. It's Hakeem Olajuwon. You let that man in. Him and Clyde Drexler should be able to do whatever they want to with the University of Houston.
Again, credit for doing your job. But can I say something that's like probably going to be a little offensive? I think sometimes people that are in security, particularly with sporting events, because those are temporary events, right? Maybe, or sometimes they're like volunteers at like baseball games. They get a little like cop energy.
Yeah.
And not in like in a way that I'm discrediting cops. I mean, like, you are not qualified to do this. This is not your actual job, but you're like, it's like how I was when I was a kid and the teacher was gone and all of a sudden I would get teacher energy. And I'm like, yes, substitute. I will take attendance.
Because they're top flight security of the world, Craig. That's why.
That's exactly what it is. It's some energy that's like a little more intense than the job description.
Take it. I appreciate what you do because there are some situations where you have to flex.
Right.
But that's Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right.
Come on,
Maybe
man.
you don't flex on him.
No.
But that's just.
I would have just pushed him if I was Hakeem. Like, man, get your butt out the way.
We finally heard from Geno Smith. That's coming your way next.
Fourth down territory. Going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Which Seahawks offensive lineman will have the biggest jump in 2025?
I think it's going to be Chris Haynes. The more I watch his film, the more I understand the offense, I think that this fits him. I think everyone's going to improve. I think Man's going to improve, Gerald's going to improve. But the way he plays the game now fits this type of offense. If Kubiak were here last year, Chris Haynes would have gotten more opportunity.
Fourth down territory. Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. So quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And your quiet night on the patio, that's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming. Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Four down territory. Going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
They say teachers don't impact for a year, but for a lifetime. Hi, this is Rick Riz. Join WSECU, your local credit union, as we celebrate those who give so much with the Teacher of the Week program. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. Each week throughout the season, we'll honor one teacher with a $500 grant, courtesy of WSECU. Teachers are the real MVPs. Find out more and nominate a teacher at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take the boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat. Yeah!
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Well, it took a couple weeks, but we finally heard from Geno Smith 2 times. One, MMQB, the latest from Albert Breer, has some quotes, some insight as to why Geno requested a trade, what he had to say about the Seahawks. And then we quite literally heard from Geno at his very first press conference for the Raiders. Now something he can do after signing that contract extension. So let's jump to it. Geno Smith on his end of time with Seattle.
Yeah, it's just business, and that's the way things work in the NFL. There's no hard feelings for anyone there. I have a lot of love for everybody there, really, and I think it's just business. And, you know, there's new opportunity for everyone, and I'm so happy to be a part of this thing. I'm so happy to be here and where I am right now. Looking forward to just creating so many new memories, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be real fun. I'm
going to combine it with this one. Geno talking about, obviously, his relationship with Pete Carroll.
I think there is unfinished business, and I think, you know, when people think about my story, you know, Coach Carroll was a big part of that. You know, he gave me an opportunity when not many people would have, and he saw, you know, the hard work that I was putting in. He saw the things behind the scenes that I do that allowed me to get this opportunity. But to be able to play for him, and again, to be a part of this organization, it means everything to myself and my family. I was just telling him, man, I'll run through a wall for him, and he knows that. And I'll do the same for my teammates and for this organization. And so I just want that to be, you know, kind of who I am, and I want that to be the statement of who I am as the quarterback of this team.
You know, Bump, in hearing these first 2 cuts, I kept reminding myself about John Schneider, who told Wyman and Bob on the John Schneider show, in addition to telling reporters, we want people who want to be here. I wonder if from Geno's point of view, he goes, well, I want to be at a place that wants me there.
That values me.
Yeah.
I think Pete Carroll definitely values Geno more than Mike McDonald would, because McDonald only had him for a year, and we've seen McDonald move. He's not afraid to cut you. He hasn't been here long enough to really have a draft class that helped him take him to another level or to find these diamonds in the rough. I'm listening to Geno talk, and at this point of most people's careers, if you're a 34-year-old quarterback who has an opportunity to start somewhere, but he's not like the guy that everyone's like really seeking after him, this wasn't a move to win championships. He's not thinking about winning championships. He's going to win some games, but he's not thinking about winning championships. It's more about just being comfortable, being around people who love you and who care about you. And I think that's extremely valuable as well, because the opportunity to win is here in Seattle right now. Not contenders, should get into the playoffs, or at least I'm hoping they get into the playoffs. With the Raiders, what are we expecting from the Raiders? Are we expecting a playoff
More
team?
than 4 wins? No.
No, we're not expecting him. So it really just shows where Geno is in his life. I want to get paid. I want to get paid what I think I deserve, and I want some security there so I get more than 1 year. But it ain't about winning championships. And I think Geno's mind is beyond that. He's on the back nine of his career, and he's more like, let me end my career, hopefully end it here in a place where the vibes are good and these people really care about me, and I can respect that.
Yeah, and his comments about Pete Carroll, for instance, here's one more.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know this was a possibility. I mean, you know, the way that life works, you know, you just kind of take it step by step and day by day. But it's kind of how God works, man. Fate, I would think, is a big part of this, and I think it's a reason why we're here today.
I don't think John Schneider and Mike McDonald have a lack of respect for Geno per se, even if that's how Geno kind of perceived the situation. I think that it's just that Pete has so much more than the average coach. Like for Pete has said outright that Geno's been one of the favorite players he's ever coached. Think of all the players that Pete Carroll has coached. Geno has been one of his absolute favorites. When Geno was not under contract with Seattle, he was set to become a free agent. The Seahawks had traded Russell Wilson, and Pete Carroll in that press conference. Again, keep in mind, Geno at this point I don't believe is signed with Seattle. It's kind of inevitable that he will, but Pete Carroll in that meeting is talking about Geno as being a front runner in the competition and like, well, we still have Geno. And if I'm John Schneider, I'm going, well, wait a minute, don't say that because I haven't talked to his agent and re-signed him yet. Now he's going to be able to ask for a little bit more. It's just clear that that relationship is such a driving force behind Geno's desire to be there.
It's big. It's big. I think when I mentor these young men before they go off to college and trying to decide which college I want to go to, the first thing I say to them is forget what their record is, like their potential to go to a national championship. You go where you are wanted, where when you show up on campus, it just feels different. They care about you. They want you there. They see you in their plans. So sometimes you can go to these bigger universities. There are a lot of kids who I train who are in love with UW, and naturally so, right? They grew up here. They've watched them on TV.
It's a great, wonderful school.
Great academic prowess is crazy over
Lots
there.
of academic prowess.
Right? But I'm thinking, well, how long have they been recruiting you? How long have they been talking to you? Like, are they offering you money as a scholarship? Like, they want you to fill a spot on their team, but they don't want you to be a real piece of what they're doing.
Okay, so you're taking our recruits.
I'm not telling any school. I'm just using UW as an example because they're the big university here. But yeah, it's going where you're wanted is big, and I think that's what he felt.
Last couple minutes, I've got two more from Geno here. One is kind of fun, which is just not only how we see Geno as a quarterback, just overall talent. Forget the fit with the Raiders, forget the fit with Seattle, just Geno, his skill, and then how Geno sees himself.
Not in a cocky or arrogant way, but I just feel that I'm one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm out to go out there and prove it. I want to prove it to my teammates every day. I want to prove it to the organization every day. And then when the product goes out there on Sunday, I want to make sure that I'm one of the best.
Not to be cocky, but I feel like I'm one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Excited to go out there and prove it. Is he right?
Yes. We're just talking yards.
Yeah.
All right, we're talking yards. He was 4th in the league this year. We're talking about completion percentage. He was tied for 5th in the league this year. Touchdowns, he was in the top 13. Interceptions, he was up there near the top when it comes to turning the football over. But there are so many other quarterbacks that I would pass on before I got to Geno. Let me name you a few. Okay, I would pass over Kirk Cousins for sure. I'd pass over Tua at this point. Don't know if he's going to be healthy. I'd pass over Russell, who's going to start over there. I'd pass over Bryce Young, who's going to play over there. I'd pass over, ready for this one, Dak Prescott I would pass over. I'll pass over Dak Prescott for Geno.
What about Matthew Stafford?
Matthew Stafford? Nah, I'll take Matthew.
Okay.
I'll take Matthew. But we can name a few. Justin Fields, who's going to be a starter this year. There are some guys who are in this league who Geno is better than. If he had 6 less interceptions, I think that the perception of him would be a bit greater.
Yep.
But he is one of the better. I'm glad he didn't say one of the best.
Yes, he was
one
very
of the
careful.
better quarterbacks.
He basically was like, I'm like just outside the top 10.
Exactly.
When you think about it. I mean, I absolutely agree with you. And I remember when I was writing up when Geno got his contract extension, I looked at like the next 5 highest paid players in terms of average annual value. Matthew Stafford was one of them. He has not played as many games, Stafford, because he's obviously been dealing off and on with shoulder and elbow injuries. But still, Geno had, I think, so Kyler, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr, who is roughly the same, like a couple other guys in there. I think Tua might have been one of them. Geno, over the last 3 seasons, had more passing yards and passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like if he was 5 years younger, we'd all be talking about Geno drastically differently.
Yeah.
And I completely understand, and it's fair to talk about him, I think, as like when is the cliff? Look, even if you don't have the wear on the tires, 35 is 35. 34 is 34. Like, you can't, Benjamin Solak came on with us and was like, age is like a cliff in the NFL. Sometimes it looks totally fine, and then all of a sudden a guy just falls off. There is a reality to that regardless of your lack of starting time. But,
yeah, for sure.
But I agree. It's like the numbers are so much better than the narrative. I don't know that the league's ever going to see it that way.
5 less turnovers, and we feel different about Geno.
Yeah. All right, we are jumping back into the draft. We had a draft expert on with us earlier who says Shedeur Sanders could be a surprise option in the middle of the first round should the Seahawks strike. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
Talk to our man in San Diego, Daniel Jeremiah.
Home run pick for an interior offensive lineman to fit these Seahawks and plug-and-play starter day one is
Grace Abel. The ability to get out in space and do things second level and pull him and just give you the versatility. Plus, he's got legit 5-position flex. I thought he would be just a tremendous value for him.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No, no place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only. Take up to $3,500 off an energy-efficient Bryant cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Right now, have beautiful, ultra-efficient, clean technology windows installed and pay 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 18 months. Only from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. And they'll even pay your sales tax. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit VaxAssist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away, so the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
It's a battle of number 1 seeds. Florida and Houston face off in the men's NCAA basketball championship today at 5:50 p.m. Will Curtis Rogers win his bracket? We will see Florida slight favorites with total points expected around 141.5. Money line moving toward Houston late. Curtis, there's still a chance. The 3-7 Mariners open a series against the 4-5 Astros today at 6:40 p.m. Pregame show starts at 5:30 right here on Seattle Sports.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bump and Stacy.
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
What should the Seahawks do at 18? It's a conversation that all of us, all three shows, are going to be having a ton leading up into the draft at the end of the month. I don't want to say it's already here. We're a couple weeks away, but oh my God, right around the corner. We just had Nick Baumgardner, who's a draft expert for The Athletic, on with us to begin the 11 a.m. hour. Definitely recommend you go check it out. A lot of good stuff there from Nick. We pulled 2 answers that we thought were most interesting, most telling, and we thought we'd dive back in. We're not done talking about the draft. First, we were asked about some names that had fall potential. So the Seahawks are there at 18. What's a name or two that could be available that maybe in any other year wouldn't, or that most people had initially predicted wouldn't, but could be there at 18?
Will Johnson, the kid from Michigan, the cornerback, who did not play like at all this year. He had I think he hurt his hamstring or something pretty early and just shut it down, and then hasn't done anything. He hasn't worked out much. He's afraid to run the 40, I think, because he doesn't have terrific long speed. But if you put the tape on with him, it is really, really difficult to find any way that, you're looking at a guy who's got terrific length at like 6'2" with great long arms, really good agility, really good burst, outstanding IQ. I think he actually said this the other day. He's got more pick sixes than teams threw touchdowns against him. If you watch that year where Michigan won the national title last year, the year before last anyway, he was one of the best defensive players in the country. So, but he's also a guy, like we just said, he didn't play much. He could slide. I think to me, he's the guy that I look at the most and say he could be a guy that falls in terms of like total value. That could be the other guy that maybe isn't on the board for Seattle just because they finished their quarterback or they got the new quarterback in there, but it would be Shedeur Sanders. And I just don't know. There's a lot of buzz. Obviously, some teams still think that he could go top 3, top 10. I'm not sure or sold on that. I think that he could absolutely fall. I think for me, Shedeur is closer to Tyler Shuck and Jackson Dart than he is Cam Ward. So we're going to see how that always plays out too. The quarterback derby is always an interesting one way or the other.
2 major names: Will Johnson, corner; Shedeur Sanders, quarterback. We'll start with Johnson. Feel free to transition to Shedeur at any point. But 2 names who, maybe a couple months ago we'd be talking about being top 10 picks, top 15 picks, who now could be available to Seattle at number 18. In fact, with Johnson, Maurice Jones-Drew has him going at 23 overall to the Packers. So he's taken quite a slide. How would you feel about the Seahawks going with a corner who would have otherwise been a very high pick? I mean, it goes with that best talent available mantra.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the way that they're thinking, Will Johnson makes sense. I mean, Trey Brown is with another squad now. Who else left for a different team?
Artie Burns
left as well. So we looked at that position in the DB room and say you need some help there. And if they were to go defense, Mike McDonald's making a statement. I'm going to get the best available, and I'm making sure this defense is on point. Like, this is what I do, coach up defenses and get them into the top 10, top 5 overall. This will be exactly that. Would I feel some type of way? No, I think I'd be fine with this. I'd be fine because we know that DBs are going to contribute in multiple ways. And we realize how important these DBs are to this defense. The way they use Devin Witherspoon in this offense, or excuse me, this defense is special. So you're going to need some depth there. You need another lockdown corner. Would not be mad at it. I'd be a bit surprised, but I wouldn't be mad at it. Now Shedeur Sanders, I'm looking at the draft picks, and I don't see the New Orleans Saints having Shedeur Sanders available and saying, no, we're going to stick with Derek Carr. We're gonna build around him. You need more than just a quarterback, but that's a heck of a start, man. I don't see, after that, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers passing up on him if he gets that low. He's outside the top 10. Okay, I understand that. But the Saints and the Steelers are the two teams I'm looking at 9 for the Saints, 21 with the Steelers. And I think to myself, if he is available, they're taking him. I don't see him falling outside the top 10, though. I even see the Jets taking a chance on him if he's available there. So I respectfully disagree with our guy.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. I mean, maybe the Raiders don't want to move at all and just want to make sure that they lock Genty up there at 6. But I could see the Saints trying to leapfrog the Jets, trading from 9 to 6, 9 to 5. I don't know if the Jags move back, but you know what I mean? Just trying to get ahead of New York there to see if they could take them. I think that the talk, and maybe I'm wrong, about Shedeur falling entirely out of the top 10 is a little trendy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you can see the basis of it, but it feels more trend than true analysis. I think that what we're doing is going, Tennessee needs a quarterback, Cleveland needs one, but probably goes best available. The Giants need one. Maybe they go with Travis Hunter, though. And then you kind of see a gap where you go, well, Patriots have a quarterback, Jags have a quarterback, Raiders just signed one. So you can see the reasoning behind him slipping. But then what happens, you're right, when you get to the Jets, the Saints, would a team like the Cowboys, this would be wild, but would a team like the Cowboys try to get him and just out of the temptation of doing so? I would not. I don't think they should, but it just feels like a lot of names and some quarterback needy teams for him to pass before he gets to Seattle. Let's say that he's there at 18, though. Devil's advocate. Shedeur Sanders is there at 18. Would you take him?
Woo!
Let's just for fun. Let's just have some fun.
At 18, would I take him? Would I take him? I think I would because we're still waiting to see what Sam can do. I think if supported correctly, if the run game is going, Kubiak understands him, Sam can put himself in a great position here to be here in year 2 and be the guy. But what if he doesn't? And you have this young quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders is sitting there waiting and learning. And honestly, I think that the type of offense that Kubiak is going to run is going to be best for Shedeur Sanders. I think he's good at diagnosing defenses, sitting in the pocket and throwing the football. I think he's good at that. But these type of offenses allow young quarterbacks to flourish a bit. It allows them to have decisions made for them and just play some football. If he's available at 18, I'm definitely looking at it. I might even pick him up at 18. I know that's not the popular pick.
No.
But if you are on the fence about Sam Darnold, I think you have to take Shedeur Sanders at 18.
And I am on the fence about Sam Darnold. Here's my follow-up question about Shedeur Sanders, and it has to do with his lack of mobility, lack of maybe overall athleticism, which always feels so silly to say about college athletes, but he is not the most mobile quarterback ever. And we do know that John Schneider has been drawn to Josh Allen, went to his pro day, obviously checked him out, clearly drafted Russell Wilson. I think it has people wondering if he goes towards more athletic upside than someone who kind of looks and feels like a traditional pocket passer. That traditional pocket passer doesn't exist. But
if that's your thinking, then it's Jackson Dart then.
Right.
It's Dart, because Dart is an overall better
But is Sanders
athlete.
better than Dart? Is Dart benefiting from the system he's in?
With the system they're running now, it doesn't matter to me, because you're not asking your quarterback to run zone option reads, read the end, tuck the football, and run. You're not asking him to do that. If you were in a different type of offense, then Jackson Dart would hold more value to me. But there's no denying what Shedeur Sanders did in college behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football, and still was a leader, one of the leaders in passing yards and in passing touchdowns, and took care of the football as far as interception-wise. An offense like Philadelphia, an offense like Baltimore, then I think that Jackson Dart holds more value. But you put him in a Kubiak, in that Shanahan West Coast type of deal, It's the same to me.
Question from Bryant. How deep is the 2026 quarterback class? A great question. Quick answer is projected to be a little bit better. You obviously never know how things are going to pan out. But where my mind always goes is, will Seattle even have a shot at top quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
Does it even matter if Seattle's going to be looking at a mid-first round again? I don't project them finishing with fewer than 8 wins per se.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to be a bad enough team to have a top 5, potentially even a top 10 pick. Keep in mind, Chicago has, 5 wins that are looking at pick 9 or 10. Like, you have to be pretty bad to be picking that high, and I don't see Seattle doing it. So does it matter? Does it matter how good that class is?
I think it does matter, but I think it's more about your offense and what you do. Arch Manning's going to be available. Nico, the young man from Tennessee, is going to be available. Mateer, who was a Coug now at Oklahoma, he's going to be available. You got Lenore Sellers from South Carolina, who's a mobile quarterback. This next class is more talented and a bit more mobile than the class that is here now. But I think once you start looking down the road is where you get caught up. Mm-hmm. You have to be in this moment. What do we need right now? And can the assets that we pick up now help us in the future, right? And that's why I look at a Shedeur Sanders. If he's available, you're saying he could help. And by the second or third year, he could be a guy if we don't get what we think we can out of Sam Darnold, because you have a way out. That's why they structured the contract the way that they did. Yeah. You got to prove it. And if year 2, we're not filling you, we can let you go. We just paid you your essentially $40 million. Now we got a young guy who's learned for a year. It's there are other things you have to do with this offense, but I think if you have an opportunity like that, how do you pass that up?
Do you think we're romanticizing some of those projected day 2, maybe even day 3 guys? For instance, someone texting in, Jalen Milroe at 18, which I think would be very high for Milroe.
Yeah, that'd be really high. No, I don't think the thing I heard Milroe is that this year wasn't as good as his year prior to that. If he would have came out in 2024, then obviously we might feel a bit different about Jalen Milroe. No, I think Jalen Milroe is a project. He is a guy who benefits from the talent that he has around him, like a lot of these quarterbacks do, and still has a few more things to work on. But if we're talking arm strength, athleticism, and being able just to take over a game, yeah, for sure. But in college, the pond is so big. You get to NFL, man, that thing shrinks.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to one more cut from Nick, which I also thought was really interesting. In this case, we were saying, hey, what do you think they should do at 18? What do you make of the front office in general? What's kind of your general takeaway?
That, to me, is the one sort of caveat. They always find talent in Seattle. They seem to make it work to where they're competitive. But the last few years, I almost feel like there needs to be a little bit more discipline in terms of don't shoot your shot as much and sort of understand that you do need to fix some areas here in the draft. And it can't always just be the absolute best talent, whatever it is on the board, regardless of situation, regardless of all. And Seattle has had a lot of success with that over the years, as we know, taking guys that might even have some character concerns and it works out for them one or the other. So they take chances, and I like that. But also I think sometimes they need to be a little more diligent. Like that's my one criticism of them, because it does feel like we're here again talking about, they need more guards. And it's like, well, we just said that last year and the year before. And you know what I mean? And it's like, at some point that needs to get taken care of.
So this was part of a longer answer that I thought was an interesting level of pushback. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know that either of us, Bump, have an issue with John Schneider saying best available. Like we've messed up too many times. He hasn't said names, but both of us have thought like reaching for an LJ Collier or a Rashad Penny instead of drafting what you actually truly thought was a talented player. This is Nick saying, maybe when it comes to the offensive line, you go with need. Like maybe you try to get that right and take a different approach.
Yeah, going with the need puts maybe a player that isn't as great as another one in front of him, right? An inferior player in front of a superior player, because you need this. And when you're picking at 18 and ending in the first round, I think that has to be your approach. You go after the best guy there. You'll fix the line later, or at least you'll try to fix the line later. And it's not like they haven't done it. They draft Christian Haynes in the third round last year. They addressed the offensive line. You drafted Jarrell and Laomea. There are other ways that you can do it. So I think that when I heard that clip, it sounds like he's saying that because they haven't drafted offensive alignment early, they're not addressing it. They're just letting it go. But when you have the number 20 pick one year, the number 9 pick the next year, 5 and a 20, then a 9. I don't think you're saying, okay, we have to address a need unless you're talking quarterback. That's the only time with 5 through 15, 5 through 20 that I think, all right, well, now you're going to get yourself a quarterback because you need a quarterback or this thing isn't going to work. Now we factor in what we think the Kubiak offense is going to do and what they already have there. I really believe, I'm not just saying this to get a clip on commercials and saying, oh, he's going to be the most improved. Christian Haynes is going to benefit the most out of this because it fits his game. So I can accept what he's saying as far as that approach, but we've seen that approach, and they missed drafting for need. Now that they drafted for this best available, you've gotten Byron Murphy, Devin Weatherspoon, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Then Cross was a need and the best available at the same time. I'm okay with this approach that they've had the last few.
Okay, so a hypothetical, I can already guess your answer based on what you've just said, but just a hypothetical for you and for listeners to think about. Let's say the Seahawks are on the clock, pick number 18 overall, and like Zabel is there. Let's say there's like a really good interior lineman. Maybe John Schneider has like a high second-round grade on him, but certainly not 18 overall. But still, the best interior lineman available, or a player that maybe it's a safety, maybe it's a wide receiver, maybe it's a defensive tackle, whatever, that you genuinely think is a better all-around player. What do you do?
I'm taking the better all-around player. I think Gray is a good prospect. From what I've seen, I think Golden is a better prospect. I think Amawari is a better prospect. I think Warren Loveland is a better prospect. I think Gray made himself some money. I think Sanders is a better prospect. Gray has made himself some money, and he might get drafted before that. Who knows?
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, what I believe in, I'd sit and wait, man. Picks 50 and 52 is what they have. I'm waiting till we get there before we make those decisions.
Yeah, I think what Nick was hinting at, too, you're right, is like he'd probably say, this one time, don't do the best available. This one time, get the best of what you need. Not like a bad version of what you need. If you have, not even high second-round grades on these guys, if you're like, this dude, no world should he be taken here, then sure. But if you're like, this guy could help me now. He's not going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, but he could help me now versus someone where you go, this guy could be a game changer. This guy's got Pro Bowl potential early. I think I'm with you, though. I think I just think of the best rosters in the league, and I think of talent as opposed to every box being checked.
You just put pressure on your other department, your scouting department. Like, look, we're going to get the best available. Now I need you guys to find me some diamonds in the rough. I need you coaches to coach these guys up because you need talent on your roster to win, not an actual need, even though you must address that offensive line. But at 18, man, you get the best thing out there.
Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it. Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, thanks to an epic collapse from Duke on Saturday, it's Houston and Florida in tonight's national championship game. What's the real headline?
Duke grads are in hell going from that collapse to the collapse of the stock market. They can't catch a break.
They're in hell. They're the Blue Devils.
Yeah.
Blue Bloods. This was interesting, and the thing that stuck out to me the most watching Duke go through their collapse was just they got some babies out there. They got 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. This is where NIL transfer portal shows itself for real, because Houston got baby daddies over there and stuff, and uncles out there playing 25, 26. I'm exaggerating.
They got gray in their beards.
They got gray.
27-year-old. Is he a coach? Is he a player?
You just don't know.
Assistant?
You put a quarter zip on, you don't know if he's playing or if he's coaching.
What are you
not.
doing?
What do you do? But it showed itself, and it's unfortunate because there was a foul that was called on flag late in the game, which I just don't agree with. It was an over the back and allowed for a 1-and-1 that put Houston up, but it shouldn't have came to that. You're up 14, 9 minutes left or something like that, and you just crumbled, and the youth has shown itself. And I think the more we get these older guys hanging around in college basketball, the more the less talented team is likely to beat the more talented team off experience alone.
Tonight's tip between the Gators and Cougs is set for 5:50 on CBS. Who would win between an actual Gator and a Cougar? Imagine it's a really strong Cougar, like a really big, strong one.
I've seen Cougars' cousins, Jaguars, jump out of a tree into a river and snatch a Gator up. So it all depends on, the plan of attack.
Do we think Jaguars are maybe better predators than Cougars?
Probably. I mean, they're in the forest, man.
That's what I'm saying. I think Cougars, maybe they're living a different life. They don't need to be quite as...
I think if it gets into the water, I think the Gators got a shot.
Cougars in the suburbs.
What about between a Gator, a Cougar, and a Blue Devil?
I'd take the Blue Devil will hit you with some life stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Influence you to do something you ain't supposed to do.
That's Satan.
Yeah.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Alex Ovechkin broke.
Just wild. I'll take the devil too, I
I'm
guess.
not messing with the devil.
Hey, Devil's on some Comic-Con stuff, man. Like, you know?
Not doing it.
Headline 2.
Not today.
Alex Ovechkin broke Wayne Gretzky's NHL record for most career goals with 895. Here's how that sounded.
Send in Wilson on the flank. Cross ice. Ovechkin fires. Score! The chasing days are done! Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL.
What's the real headline?
And he did it in the exact same number of games, proving witchcraft is real.
It's somebody on our text line being like,
Chris got in a fight.
no, they didn't.
Can you
It's like,
take?
yes, they did.
What was his argument? I saw you
He
going
didn't
back
have
and forth.
one. He just was like, no, Wayne Gretzky played longer than Alex Ovechkin. It's like, no, they didn't. They played the exact same number of games. Go to their hockey reference page, 1487. Both of them.
No, his argument was like, well, Gretzky didn't score his last few games. So? Makes no sense. Anyway, sometimes, man, I get it. You just got to take L's sometimes, man. I take L's all the time. If I mess up or something, like, yeah, my bad, I got that one wrong.
So his argument is, even though Gretzky only played this many games, that
he was wrong.
You can't make sense of it, Stacey. It makes no sense.
They have played the exact same amount of games.
It makes no sense. Anyway, the celly was dope. My man belly flopped on the ice. It was a little wrister from outside, and I'm glad it happened that way. Not no little garbage, pigeon type of goal. It was like, listen, I'm gonna wrist that thing in there. Gretzky is still the all-time points leader. I don't think he's gonna catch him there. Even Crosby has Ovechkin by like 100 points or something, or maybe less than that. But no, that was fun, man. I've watched Ovechkin his whole career, which is pretty cool, man. Coming from a black dude from LA who knew nothing about hockey, but as soon as Crosby and Ovechkin came in the league, we're around the same age. I started following them, and to see the man with more gray than me do the things that he's doing is awesome.
I would like to make a statement. He's got more gray than someone born in 85 should have. And this is not me saying...
Are you questioning his actual age?
He's almost 40, man.
He's 39.
We up there.
Okay, so I'm just saying, it's not like a bad thing. I would look at him and think that he was a little older than 39. Not by like his face, like his features still look like someone in their 30s. He's just got a lot of gray.
Brace the gray. I'm with that.
I need us 80s babies to hang on
gray
a
early.
little longer.
I had a friend in high school.
I mean, it looks good on him. He looks totally fine.
I had a friend in high school, shout out Thomas Bowie, had gray in his hair at our high school graduation. Yes.
Was
at
it like
18?
Well, hang on a minute. Was it one of those things like, that new show that's out on Hulu of that girl that's pretending to be a child?
He was a...
It's not like one of those things where he was pretending to
Natalia
be an 18-year-old.
Grace?
Yeah,
No,
he was Natalia gracing you guys.
No, he was not.
Okay.
As far as I know, he is now, 33, 34 years
And I
old?
bet entirely gray.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in years, but he had gray in his hair at graduation.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, Vlad Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays agreed to a 14-year, $500 million extension late Sunday night. What's the real headline?
So does this mean he's not available at this year's trade deadline?
That means he wasn't available when he said he was available, because the Mariners were not about to put up that much money for him. Good for Vladdy Dottie. We like Sapati.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun while it lasted. Me imagining you hitting bombs. I'm here at T-Mobile. And you know me, I'm a player's guy. Whenever they get paid, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. So big ups to Vladdy.
This person said they're 61 and have no gray hair. Good for you.
That's great.
Someone else said they were born in 85 and have been going gray since high school. Maybe it's your friend, Curtis. Oh, no, he would have been younger than 85. He would have been 91, 92. Yeah, I was just surprised by that. That's all.
It was good. And if you don't know his theme song to get him going, bands to make her dance.
And he yells along
bands
with
to make her
it.
dance.
Taking a look around the NFL next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
We are excited to announce the Cal Raleigh Show will air every Thursday during the Mariners season at 5 p.m.
I think he could be one of the most beloved characters in Seattle sports history.
He's a huge fan favorite, and on the heels of him signing this deal and showing his commitment to this city and to this organization, I think it's a big deal to have him on every single week.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, what's up? It's Michael Bumpus here to talk about Silver Reef Casino. I made the trip this weekend. I got on I-5, went up to Exit 260, and I was there. Just put on a nice little playlist, and you are there in no time. When I walk in, it felt good. I saw the decoration. It was beautiful. I get to my room, and the Deluxe King Room did not disappoint. When I was done, I did go down to the steakhouse, had me a steak. I didn't eat at the cantina because I was full already, but I went in, and I felt the vibe, and you guys are going to like it. And then it was time to have some fun, relax a little bit. I went to Porter Space Sports Bar, and the screens are everywhere. The vibe is good. The service was on point. Now, I was too tired. I didn't wake up and go play golf at Loomis Trails Golf Course, but I did hit the range and get into the clubhouse and just see what it was all about. I had such a great time this weekend. I walk into the casino, and a guy named Rudy, he watches our show, Stacy. Rudy shakes my hand and says, "I can't believe you're here. I told you I was going." So let me tell you, you guys need to go yourself. Visit silverreefcasino.com. Book your stay today. It is worth the trip.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
When buying a battery, most people don't know one brand from another. And brands don't start things, watts do. And who remembers that volts times amps equals watts anyway? At Pacific Power Batteries, you're buying a battery from someone who you can trust. Lately, we've been working hard on our product knowledge so that you don't have to remember all that you may have forgotten about Ohm's Law. Studying vendors' strong points helps us find a battery that's right for you. And at Pacific Power Batteries, that's not artificial intelligence. That's useful information.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Roof now, pay later. No payments until 2027. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Since 1968, we've helped homeowners just like you get beautiful, durable roofs without breaking the bank. Book today and lock in summer pricing before it's too late. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works. And you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day 7-day treatment that begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. 425-449-8185. If you qualify, get $250 off and $250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com.
I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after turning 40, I noticed my libido just wasn't what it used to be. That's when I reached out to Revive Health. Their team knew exactly what I needed, which is why today, my wife and I are both more satisfied than ever.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, text BOOST to 65555 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to schedule your appointment. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies. Text help for help. Text stop to cancel. See privacy policy at ReviveMen'sHealth.com/privacy-policy. For info on how opt-in info will be used and terms and conditions at ReviveMen'sHealth.com/terms of use for terms of short code service.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Little to no surprise here. The Titans have canceled upcoming workouts with Shedeur Sanders, leading many to believe Cam Ward will be the #1 overall pick. Titans have already held private workouts with Cam.
Yo, I had a dream about Cam Ward last night.
What was it? What
I
happened?
was his agent, and I was negotiating for him.
Oh, what a horrible thing to wake up and realize you weren't about to get a ton of money.
No, he was like, this is my agent. You know, he was at Wazoo with me. I go, no, I wasn't. I'm a lot older than you. But for real, I woke up, I was crazy. Anyway, back to what we're supposed to be talking about. Yeah, we know this, man. Why do we play these games during this time of year? Why do we act like Jackson Dart is going to move up and pass by Shedeur Sanders? If he does, then okay, so be it. But we know who the #1 pick is going to be and should be since halfway through the season last year. Cam Ward separated himself from the pack. Happy for him. Let's stop playing these games. How about you just sign a contract now and get it over with?
I actually think it's kind of nice of the Titans to cancel the workouts. You know what I mean? And be like, hey,
we're not going to waste your time.
We're not going to waste your time. We're not going to waste Travis's time. We're not going to waste anyone's time. We're going to take Cam.
We all know.
The Titans should. They should absolutely do that.
They met with him twice already.
Yeah.
They've spoken to everybody. He's the guy.
Weird one for our next story. Per Jordan Schultz, former Seahawks Pro Bowl corner Shaquille Griffin is set to visit with Seattle today. He appeared in all 17 games for the Vikings in 2024, finishing with 2 interceptions and 41 tackles.
The Hawks have a way of doing this, of bringing guys back. And this ain't even Pete Carroll. This is Mike McDonald and John Schneider talking about, let's take a look at this guy. And the last time he was here, he had a Pro Bowl season and got paid and went off to the Jacksonville Jaguars, I believe it was. Yeah, why not? You're thin at the DB position. And we just talked about the possibilities of them drafting Will Johnson at 18 at the DB spot. If you can bring over a veteran and feel like you don't have to go high with a DB during the draft, you go ahead and do that, man. So, yeah, welcome back if you do show up. And I'd be happy to have him.
All right, next up, Field Yates' 2-round mock has the Seahawks taking East Carolina corner. I think it's Savant. Field Yates, I'm sure, will tell me here. Rebel, here's Field.
If you look at Seattle's cornerback room, it's fine to begin this upcoming season. But we know that Tariq Woolen going into the final year of his rookie contract. Woolen is a guy who's at his best been a Pro Bowl level player. At his worst, been a guy that you couldn't quite figure out what his role was in Seattle, what his standing was in Seattle. So a bit of a look-ahead pick here for Mike McDonald, who, of course, has a defensive background. You can imagine that he wants to make some level of investment in his defense at some point early in the draft. Rebel Mel, if the Seahawks can be patient, will be a great value at number 50 overall. If they need him to go right away, there's going to be a bit of an acclimation period for a guy who will be, close to 11 or 11 and a half months removed from that ACL surgery when next season begins. But if you're willing to be patient, the reward is significant for this player.
This would not be at 18. Again, it was a 2-round mock, so Field is looking at one of Seattle's 2 second-rounders, number 50 overall, to add to that defensive back room.
Yeah, when you look at just the rankings, I use Draft Blitz a lot to look at that kind of stuff. He's the 5th overall DB, projected around a 4.4, 6'3". Yeah, that's the perfect approach for a guy that's picked in the 50s. Like, all right, we don't need you right now, but we can be patient with you and let you develop and let's see how this thing goes. The DB spot was deep last year. It's not deep anymore, and you need someone to apply some pressure to Tariq Woolen. Even if he doesn't like it, it's just this is the nature of the business. If you don't put up back-to-back good years, they're going to be looking for guys to potentially replace you. Just hold them off and do your thing. And if you do that, now that room is that much deeper with a guy like Rebel.
ESPN Jets reporter Rich Cimini says the Jets will be going away from having Breece Hall as their feature back and will instead have a running back by committee in 2025.
RB by committee. That's the way to go, honestly. Unless you have one of the top 2 or 3 in the game, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. I'll throw Kyron Williams up in that thing too, maybe Gibbs. This is the way you should go because you want your playmakers on the field for as long as you can. With running backs, we know it's 3 to 4, maybe 5 years you get out of them. What do you pay offensive players for? Explosive plays. So get as many as you can out of them.
I mean, you also have to consider like Aaron Glenn coming from a running back by committee type team. Breece Hall, I've had such high expectations for, and the rest of the league has as well. And I can never tell if it's just like we're waiting to see a really good Jets team and a well-balanced Jets team with a great offensive line help him spring back to action. Like, can he be that feature back? Or is this just entirely where the league is going and it's going to be like Saquon, maybe Henry, and kind of no one else?
I think that's the way it is going to go and the way it should go. I think Bijan Robinson has the potential to be another one of those every down. You know, this is my guy back, but no, save your legs with those raw RBs, man. Give them some help.
What's an every down back need?
It means that whether
need. Like what makes that guy different than like I'd say David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are both great backs, but it's clearly a committee there.
You do everything. You can run in between the tackles. You can run outside the tackles. You can pass pro. You're getting the pass game. It's like even when everyone knows that you're going to pass a football, you can still help either in pass pro or catching the rock as well. So just able to do everything a running back is required to do at a high level.
All right, former wide receiver and Dolphins wide receiver coach Wes Welker has landed on the Commanders coaching staff. I always like when former well-known players join coaching staffs because I wonder if they have more of an outsized influence on a room. You know what I mean? Like a guy that has won Super Bowls comes into your receiver room and you go, I better listen up.
Yeah. It's like when I see Antoine Randall L., I believe he's with the Lions right now as a receiver coach. Hartline was with the Dolphins. Now he's the receiver coach for Ohio State. Yeah, because a lot of these kids, what they're going to do is they're going to look up your stats up first thing. What did you do? How am I going to learn from you? And when you have a guy like Wes Welker who comes in, you are going to listen. It doesn't mean that there aren't great wide receiver coaches or position coaches across the country who haven't played at a high level but know what they're talking about. But they have a lot more to do when it comes to gaining the trust of these guys. With Wes Welker, man, you shut up and listen.
I agree. It's like that great player-coach connection. Sean McVay was a wide receiver who obviously didn't thrive, but obviously thrived as a play caller and a head coach, like a brilliant guy. Maybe his youth also helped him make that connection, though. So for someone like Dan Quinn bringing on a slightly younger guy onto his coaching staff, the Commanders are a fascinating team. Top 3 most interesting teams in the NFC heading into next year. Are the Commanders on your list as well?
Oh, yeah. Can you run it back? And you got Debo over there, too?
Yeah.
You have weapons for days. NFC, it got to be the Commanders.
Okay, removing the Seahawks. What are your other two?
I want to see what Chicago does because they've done a lot this offseason to protect their investment over there. And then, honestly, I got to go with the Atlanta Falcons because they have a lot of weapons over there as well.
I think I'm with you on all of those. If I could not have the Seahawks as my answer and someone was like, I will tell you how this season ends for these 3 teams, I think those would be my 3 as well. In the NFC, at least.
Yeah,
obviously, the AFC, I might be more interested in all 3 of those. I don't know the Commanders, though. I think the Commanders would be one of my number 1 teams.
Man, they're in that tough division, but they survived. Kind of tough, man, because what are the Giants going to look like with Russell Wilson over there? Are the Cowboys going to be able to bounce back?
Look,
I know they're not going to be great.
No.
But, Russell's good for a game or two, a magical game or two.
Oh, yeah, he's going to have one game where we all have the discourse. We will have discourse around Russell Wilson after 1 or 2 games this year, and then it's just going to fall flat. But I can't wait for those 1 or 2 games. Hey, where's Aaron Rodgers playing right now?
Hey,
I'm looking good for this bet. I'm looking good for this bet. No, I think
he's going to Pittsburgh.
I was thinking about this morning. I wonder if he's waiting another team out. Why would you not sign with Pittsburgh at this point? Because you don't want to be there. You don't want to play for Pittsburgh.
No, that's not true.
He does not want to be there.
He wants to be there.
Then why isn't he signed there?
There's some details that need to get worked out. Geno, took forever for Geno to sign his contract. He just had his press conference today.
I think that he would love to play for a different team, and that team, whatever that team is.
What team?
I don't know, but
Nobody's
it doesn't
out there,
make sense
Stacy.
to me.
The lights
Steelers
are on in the
quite
club.
literally don't have.
Your options have left. She left with him. She left with him. You're left
Where are you going,
with
Aaron?
Pittsburgh.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe accepted a green room invite to the draft. Most prospects don't attend the draft unless they're assured of getting taken in the first 2 days.
I don't know why you did that.
Oh, the camera's going to be going to him. The second Sanders is off the board, it's going to be him and Dart, him and Dart, him and Dart.
I wouldn't do that. Honestly, unless I'm a top 5 pick, I'm at home with my peoples, man. I'm just chilling. We eating, we vibing.
Yeah.
I'm doing something like Byron Murphy did last year. His setup was perfect.
ESPN's Mike Greenberg joining us next.
The John Schneider Show.
With Wyman and Bob.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
When you guys bring in free agents, then they leave and you don't sign them, probably unique to each one. But is it just something you learn in that conversation that you go, okay?
Yeah, a lot of different reasons. It could be medical, it could be personality, financial, how they're going to be a fit in the building, how much they love football, what kind of worker are they. Yeah, there's a whole interview process that I don't want to give out, actually.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just 1 day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed 1-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
You don't have to be a professional athlete to feel like a champion. At Emerald City Athletics, every person discovers the champion within. If you're setting personal records, tackling your daily goals, or aiming to be your best self, Emerald City Athletics will help you feel like the champion of your life. That's why they were voted the best in the Pacific Northwest. It's not just about fitness. It's about empowering you to step into your full potential so you can become your best self and feel the best you've ever felt. Each day at Emerald City Athletics is an opportunity to rise, to push beyond what you thought was possible, and to become stronger inside and out. Train for a goal, build confidence, embrace a healthier lifestyle. Emerald City Athletics will help you achieve greatness and find the champion within. Check out Emerald City Athletics today with a free 29-day pass, available now for a limited time. There are gyms, and there's Emerald City Athletics. Come discover the difference.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spring cleaning isn't just for clutter. Let Benjamin Franklin Plumbing take care of your appliances. From water heater replacement or repair to advanced water filtration installation, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing is here to provide a worry-free summer for you and your family. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com to schedule. You can count on the punctual plumbers, where your comfort and safety come first. Book now. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Swedish Cyberknife is expanding. Dave Wyman with exciting news from our friends at Swedish. They're adding a second Cyberknife. Patients can now receive Cyberknife treatment at Swedish Cherry Hill and First Hill campuses. As many 710 listeners know, Cyberknife is a non-invasive, non-surgical treatment option for prostate cancer with proven results. It uses advanced technology to track your slightest body movements while adjusting in real time to deliver radiation with extreme precision. Healthy surrounding tissue and organs are spared from radiation. The end result? Excellent long-term cancer control and significantly reduced side effects. Compared with other radiation therapies, which last 6 to 9 weeks, the Cyberknife treatment period is typically only 5 days, with each session lasting less than an hour. When diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/Cyberknife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at MazdaofEverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop MazdaofEverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I cannot believe how much we're already talking about the NFL draft. Bump, there's part of me that goes, oh, we're jumping into this a little too soon. What else is there to talk about? And then I realized, no. It is April 7th.
Right
the first
there.
day of the draft is, 19 days away? It's the 26th or the 27th? I can't remember. It's only my job to know.
Not soon enough.
I can't believe it's almost here. I cannot believe it's almost here. And I love that this draft is so concentrated to days 2 and 3 because nothing's worse than knowing that every player you're excited about is going to be gone before your team's on the board. And instead, we're looking at a Seahawks team that has 5 picks in the first 100. And the bulk of those are right in kind of that sweet spot, day 2 of the NFL draft. So he will be hosting ESPN's NFL draft coverage. It's Mike Greenberg joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Greenie, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you guys very much for having me.
We are happy to have you on here. I'm actually not going to start with a question about the Seahawks, though we will eventually get there. Instead, I'm going right to the top, Mike. We're all assuming it's Cam Ward at number 1 overall, but then what? I've seen a million different scenarios. I mean, what happens at 2 and 3?
I think the best player in this draft, according to pretty much everyone that I've asked, and that's all I do is ask, to be clear. I'm not an evaluator, I'm not an expert, I'm not an analyst, but I'm sort of an amalgamator of all of the opinion that is out there. I don't know almost anyone who doesn't think Travis Hunter is the best player in this draft. There's obviously a quarterback tax that you pay, and the Titans desperately need a quarterback, so I believe they will take Cam Ward. Everything that they have done so far suggests that is their plan. At that point, I think anyone who doesn't take Travis Hunter is probably making a mistake. So I think Cleveland should take Travis Hunter at number 2. I don't know for sure that they will. There are some people who think they're going to take Abdul Carter from Penn State. I think those 2 guys go 2 and 3 in either order. I think the unhappiest team and fan base in the league at that point is in New England, because I think they were really hoping that 2 quarterbacks would go in front of them so they would get their shot at either Hunter or Carter. I don't expect that to happen. And then I think the storyline of the draft becomes, where does Shedeur Sanders go? Does he come off the board as early as 6 to the Raiders? Does someone trade up to take him that early? Does he go 9 to New Orleans? Or does he go into a bit of a fall, which we've seen obviously many times before in the draft? I obviously don't know the answers to those questions, but that, I think, of all the scenarios, is the most interesting one about the first half of round 1.
All right, Mike, I'm going to take you away from the draft. I'm sure Stacy will take you back to the draft.
I will.
If people don't know you, you are a big New York Jets fan. And we've had both of your boys here now. We had Geno here, and I believe that his time in New York just made him stronger, resilient, and he comes here and we reap the benefits. And now we got Sam Darnold, who spent some time there, and it seems like it might have made him stronger and resilient. Do you believe in what he did last year, and do you feel like he'll be able to duplicate what he did with the Vikings here in Seattle?
Oh.
Hello?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, I'm not sure what just happened there. So I have two answers to your question. Do I believe in Sam Darnold? Yes. Do I believe that he will duplicate what he did a year ago? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure Kevin O'Connell isn't the best offensive coach in the National Football League. And I think Sam Darnold was the recipient of that, or the beneficiary of that. And I think that to expect him to play to that level without, and I love Jackson Smith and Jigba, but he's not Justin Jefferson. No one is Justin Jefferson. So do I expect him to play at quite the level he played at for the overwhelming majority of last season with Minnesota? Probably not. Do I believe in Sam? Yes, I do. Look, the Jets did everything they could to destroy that kid's career, to destroy his confidence, to destroy his reputation, to absolutely destroy him. If the Jets had set out to annihilate his career, they couldn't have done so any more effectively than they wound up doing with him. So I am extremely impressed that he was able to bounce back from any of it at all. He definitely has the talent. He is turnover prone. That has been the knock on him going back to his days at USC. He will put the ball in harm's way. My colleague and friend Teddy Bruschi on Sunday NFL Countdown says all the time, when you're playing defense against him, the mantra amongst the defenders is, he's going to throw us one, you got to catch it. He's going to throw us one, you got to catch it. And that would be my biggest concern. I think it is not realistic to think that's going to get coached out of him. So I think he will remain a slightly high-risk, high-reward player, but I think he is more than good enough to win with. So I like the move, and he is a player I will always root for, because the way his career started was genuinely unfair.
You say that you believe in Sam. Is that a belief you've always had, or was there a season you saw, and it could be this past season, or something you saw that made you believe in him?
No, I didn't want the Jets to give up on him. When the Jets had the second pick in the draft in 2021, Sam played for the Jets for 3 years. They tanked two of them. Right? The Jets were legitimately not trying to win 2 of his 3 seasons. They had absolutely terrible coaching. When he was going into that, he would have been going into his 4th year. The Jets had the second pick in the draft. They decided to take Zach Wilson and trade him away. I was campaigning on the air, begging on the air for the Jets to keep Darnold, trade that second pick for the King's ransom you could have gotten for it. If you think back to that year, think about what San Francisco gave up to move up to the 3rd spot to take Trey Lance. The Jets would have gotten at least that, if not more, from them or someone to trade that second pick and build around Sam Darnold. That's what I wanted then, and I still think it would have been the right thing to do. So I've always believed in him. I will admit that there were times that I worried that the Jets had just destroyed him. Some of his struggles in Carolina, I thought it was possible that his lot in life was just to become a journeyman backup because the Jets had candidly destroyed his career. And so that's what I mean when I say the most impressive thing I can tell you about him is that he persevered through that, came out the other side, and was still ready with excellent coaching, first in San Francisco and then in Minnesota last year, to put together the kind of season that he had. So I believe in him, and generally speaking, I always have.
Hey, Mike, the Browns have that second pick. Would it be foolish of them not to go quarterback, or do you like them teaming up Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett over there?
I think they should take Travis Hunter, and I base that exclusively on the fact that everyone says he's the best player. We live in a world in which you cannot find almost anything that everyone agrees on. This is something everyone agrees on. And I've got people comparing him to Shohei Ohtani. He is such a unicorn. I believe he will be a contributor on both sides of the ball. He will be, I think, a superstar on one side and a legitimate contributor on the other, whichever way it winds up going. So I think ultimately, I think Cleveland's quarterback this year is going to be Kirk Cousins. I think they will ultimately pry Cousins out of Atlanta, and he will be there. Stefanski will get back together with him, and he will play representative quarterback for them. And I would, if I were in their shoes, I would take Travis Hunter, and when push comes to shove, that's what I think they will do.
I am going to talk about potentially QB2 off the board. Greeny, you know a lot of people. You hear a lot of things. We're talking to a very well-connected person. What are you hearing about Sanders? Do you think ideas of his slide are massively overblown and kind of trendy, or do you think there's a real possibility he goes outside the top 10?
I think there is a possibility.
Okay.
It's so hard to put a percentage chance on it. Dan Orlovsky, whose opinion I value on this stuff as much as anyone I've ever worked with, said on our show last week that Shedeur Sanders is the most complicated quarterback evaluation he's ever had to make. And that is, I think that is very much in keeping with what I have been hearing. There are people who like him a lot, and there are people who say they would not be even remotely interested in him in round one. So what do we know? We know that it only takes one team to love him. So could that team still be the Raiders despite re-signing Geno? Could that team be New Orleans at 9 who needs a long-term answer? Could it be someone that we're not expecting who trades up if they see him falling a little bit? If I had to bet on it right now, I would bet he does go inside the top 10, but not 3. I think the ship has sailed on the Giants. So I think he'll get to 6 for sure. I don't think the Raiders will take him. I don't think the Jets will take him. That gets us to 8. My gut feeling is that the Saints take him at 9 or someone trades up in that ballpark to take him. So if I had to bet on it, I would bet that he goes inside the top 10, but late in that. And if he doesn't, and listen, I'm not telling you I'm predicting this. I'm telling you I would not consider it the most shocking thing I've ever seen if Jackson Dart winds up getting drafted ahead of him. I don't expect it. I wouldn't bet on it. I would not be absolutely stunned if Jackson Dart winds up coming off the board before he does. In that scenario, I think both of them have fallen a ways, and then we are outside the top 10.
Good stuff. He will be hosting ESPN's NFL draft coverage. It's Mike Greenberg, kind enough to join us. Thanks so much, Greeny.
Thanks, Greeny.
Guys, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Have a good one. All right, well, we have a lot to react to from Mike Greenberg, including some really interesting sound on Sam Darnold. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
What Randy brings is this kind of edginess that is pretty rare in baseball, to see it combined with kind of a look-at-me showmanship. I don't say that in a negative way, for someone to make themselves a spectacle like that, especially when they're as quiet as they are, till he does something awesome and then he turns into Dennis Rodman. Like, I love it.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
To me, the LJ way is to provide an experience that people really enjoy being a part of. And they enjoy being a part of it because they're getting great service. They're talking with somebody that actually they feel cares about them. They care about what their impression is going to be walking away. It's also understanding you're now part of our family, and thank you for doing the business with us. And this is how we're going to show our appreciation, through customer service. We're going to show our appreciation with taking care of you if you ever have an issue. The majority of the people that are coming to see us are within our community. These are people who are providing maybe services that we also use in our community. So the LJ way, to me, somebody can come into a retail setting and not feel like they got to have their guard up. And that's been a long-standing thing in the car business that, you know, we've tried to shake.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown is disappearing. Hair loss had me feeling like I was losing my identity altogether. Well, I've got some good news. It's a simple one-day treatment that worked for me. The Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. It starts growing new hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly memberships. Those can help retain what you have. But what if you want your own natural hair in specific areas like I did? You decide how much, how thick, and where. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to the world-class leading doctors like Dr. Parango, it's not a maybe your hair will grow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. Advanced Hair is the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and they are the team that I personally recommend. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment and paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
Is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners were swept by the Giants over the weekend, now 3-7, heading into a series against Houston. That begins today at 6:40 p.m. Pre-game show starts at 5:30 p.m. right here on Seattle Sports.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio
This is Bump and Stacy.
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Curtis, before I get to Sam Darnold, can I tell Bump about the dire wolves? Please.
Oh, all right.
Okay, fine. Bump, dire wolves are back.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's not. I was expecting a much
Really?
more excited.
Tell me more.
Okay, great. So Matt and I think this is a cool story. Apparently, so the dire wolf, which I thought was fake. I thought this was just from Game of Thrones. I didn't know it was a real animal. I guess it went extinct 10,000 years ago, like pre-1950. This is a long time they've been gone. Scientists claim that they have used DNA of a gray wolf and like somehow configured DNA, done sciencey things on fossilized DNA. And now they have 2 wolf pups that they claim are basically dire wolves coming back to life.
Why we messing with God's work?
So
why we messing with his work?
okay, so this kind of reminds me a little, while I think it's cool, science.
It is cool.
It makes me think of 2 things. Number one, next are we going to try this with like saber-toothed tigers and like other fossilized DNA to be like, oh, we created this.
Please don't. Like, how are they going to get acclimated to the world today? You're just going to put them out in the wild? Like, what are you going to do with these dire wolves?
They're going to set up an exhibit where you can go see them.
Just an exhibit. Keep them contained.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to have like a dire wolf explosion.
Yeah.
But the other thing it made me think of is when you see people that'll be like, scientists unearthed this tomb and opened it from however many years ago. And you're thinking, don't.
Why would you do that?
Did you know? Have we not seen the mummy? Have we not seen what happens here? There are consequences to this.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Where are they? I'll go see them.
Anyways.
Do you know where they are?
No, I'm still learning a lot of things about it. They are, I don't know. I want to know, are they bringing back the woolly mammoth? Are they going to bring back the dodo? The dodo kind of did itself in.
I mean, you can bring back the dodo. Because they're harmless.
Yeah,
a saber-tooth tiger.
And that's how they got themselves into this situation.
That's why you got people dodo birds growing up.
I don't know that I want to bring back the dodo. What's the dodo doing for literally
nothing?
Anyone?
But it's harmless. Like saber-tooth tiger? Nah, I'm good on that.
We're about to have dodos walking the street like pigeons, just hanging out. You know what? Here I am being complicated. I just wanted to have a contrarian opinion. I would be okay with the dodo coming back. I'm moving on. I'm done now. I'm sorry. Mike Greenberg, who's going to be hosting NFL draft coverage on ESPN, was kind enough to, during a very busy month for him, join our show and talk about what he's hearing leading into April's draft. Naturally, we wanted to ask diehard Jets fan Mike Greenberg about Sam Darnold. And I got to be honest, both Bump and I left that interview thinking, yeah, it was really cool to hear about his thoughts on the draft and where Shedeur Sanders could fall and, what happens after, the Titans take Cam Ward at number 1. But I know, Bump, that for you and for me, sticking with us were his thoughts on Sam Darnold.
Facts.
So if you missed it, we're diving into it. First, believing in Sam Darnold.
Do I believe in Sam Darnold? Yes. Do I believe that he will duplicate what he did a year ago? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure Kevin O'Connell isn't the best offensive coach in the National Football League. And I think Sam Darnold was the recipient of that, or the beneficiary of that. And I think that to expect him to play to that level without, and I love Jackson Smith and Jigba, but he's not Justin Jefferson. No one is Justin Jefferson. So do I expect him to play at quite the level he played it for the overwhelming majority of last season with Minnesota? Probably not. Do I believe in Sam? Yes, I do.
Believing in Sam, great. Not expecting Sam to play like he did with Minnesota, fine. What is a fair expectation? What about for you? When you think of Sam Darnold, are you with Greeny where you're like, yeah, I'm not expecting 2024 Sam Darnold, but what version are you expecting?
I don't expect that because of what he had over there. And he also points out that Kevin O'Connell might be one of the best offensive coaches in the game. You got Justin Jefferson over there. There are some things that were working in Sam Darnold's favor, which he simply just isn't going to have over here. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think, is the top 15 receiver in this league. Might be higher than that, but I just need to see it for another year. We don't know what we're going to get out of Cooper Kupp. I think he'll be a solid number 2. And then with Marquez, stretch the fit out and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
It's all contingent on the run game. And we haven't seen the run game be anything like just be a real threat since Chris Carson was back there toting the rock, really. I mean, we just haven't seen that. So there's so many questions that were already answered after you look at the season at the Vikings side. He had a run game. He had wideouts. The offense fit him. His coach knew what to say to him. If all those boxes are checked, then I think he has a decent season. But to ask him to go 35-12 over 4,200 yards again and have these huge games, I don't think it's fair. But I think what is fair to ask of him is just to become more responsible with the football, because Greeny also said that he's turnover prone.
Yeah.
Like, he will have those games where he just turn the rock over, and I believe he had one or two of those games this year.
It's also fair to re-examine our own perception of Sam Darnold. And on Friday, you and I were talking about Sam and Geno, and I said, look, I will admit, for some reason that I cannot back up with stats, I'm not like super excited about Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
And I questioned whether or not Sam Darnold can very quickly replicate what Geno was able to do behind a struggling offensive line. And it's not that I think Geno is a top 5 quarterback. By no means do I think that. But I worry about Sam Darnold behind a bad offensive line, and I don't fully buy into the Sam Darnold we saw with the Vikings. Like, count me as a doubter, right? And I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to be eating crow. So I was paying a lot of attention to Mike Greenberg talking about the Jets and what the Jets did with Darnold and why that's such important context.
The Jets did everything they could to destroy that kid's career, to destroy his confidence, to destroy his reputation, to absolutely destroy him. If the Jets had set out to annihilate his career, they couldn't have done so any more effectively than they wound up doing with him. So I am extremely impressed that he was able to bounce back from any of it at all.
I am not a Jets fan, Bump, so it was important for me to hear a Jets fan say, hey, there's some really important stuff you should know about Sam Darnold's worst years, which are his team absolutely contributed to them.
Yeah, there's some things that are out of his control. And people always want to go back to the I see ghost comment.
Yeah.
I understand that. But also, you know what helps you not see ghosts? Coach is preparing you. Coach is making sure that you know where the ghosts are going to be so you can avoid them. And then what you can do is draft well. He was drafted in 2018. It was him, tight end named Chris Herndon, who was drafted, who's no longer in the league. Then after that, it was nothing but defenders. And then the 6th pick was Trenton Cannon, who's not in the league. After that, you go to 2019. Quentin Williams is one of the best D tackles in the game. He's still there. No other offensive guy until Trevon Wesco, who's still in the league. 9 receptions for 134 yards. You go to 2020. This is last year here. You get Mekhi Becton, who just got his bag over there. Then you draft a receiver, Denzel Mims, who has 42 receptions for 676. You didn't get anything. You didn't do anything to help this young man at all. So you combine the coaching staff not preparing this young man, and then you look at the picks that you are drafting with him. He was destined to fail over there. This is a common theme. Then you look at, then they draft Zach with the Zach Wilson with the 2nd pick overall. And what do? They build up this defense. You did get Breece Hall in 22. Good running back, right? Over 1,200 yards his career. But you go Jermaine Johnson, get yourself another wideout. And now these picks start to make sense. You see kind of where they're going. And I think that Zach Wilson was nowhere near as talented as Sam Darnold was in college, but he's just a victim of pro day shorts and T-shirts out there throwing the football. So they didn't prepare him during practice throughout the week. And then you didn't surround him with the pieces needed. If you were to put Sam Darnold on the team the way it's constructed now, he probably looks a lot better.
A bit more on Darnold from Greeny.
He definitely has the talent. He is turnover prone. That has been the knock on him going back to his days at USC. He will put the ball in harm's way. My colleague and friend Teddy Bruschi on Sunday NFL Countdown says all the time, when you're playing defense against him, the mantra amongst the defenders is, he's going to throw us one, you got to catch it. And that would be my biggest concern. I think it is not realistic to think that's going to get coached out of him. So I think he will remain a slightly high-risk, high-reward player, but I think he is more than good enough to win with. So I like the move, and he is a player I will always root for, because the way his career started was genuinely unfair.
A great touchdown-interception ratio for the Vikings. Doesn't sound like Greeny expects that to stay with Seattle.
No. It's all about how you view Sam Darnold. And I think that there is a lot of potential in this guy. I look at Sam Darnold the same way I looked at what Geno did the last 3 years, was that he had to be in the right situation to even become one of the better quarterbacks. and Geno did it behind an offensive line that struggled to protect him. Sam Darnold is walking into the situation with a few more resources than Geno. Doesn't have DK Metcalf, I understand that. Doesn't have Lockett. Lockett at this age wouldn't be a big boost anyway. But he's walking into a situation where the defense is going to be a lot better for the Seahawks than what Geno had, and that the offense is more conducive to a quarterback not having to go back there and win you ball games. Can he execute? Can he pick up this offense? Can he lead? That's to be determined. We shall see. But on paper, because of just the way I expect this offense to be called, it feels like he's in a better situation than Geno was walking in.
I agree. And I think that I need to check my own assumption about, Sam Darnold, not great under pressure. Like, I'll admit, like, I did not watch every Vikings game. I did watch his final 2 games, obviously. I did not watch every Jets game during his tenure. I didn't watch subsequent games that he had with, Carolina. I thought the book was written. And I've come to, honestly, a couple other quarterbacks have led me to do this, Baker Mayfield, Geno, but I've come to challenge my own assumptions about whether a guy is, like, washed. Is he done? Is that all he is? And I think that maybe I need to do that with Sam, while understanding I don't expect Sam to come in here and be a franchise saver. I still have not changed my mind on that. I still have not looked at it and thought, like, Sam Darnold is the future just by virtue of being younger. But I wonder if there's more room to grow than I'm giving him credit for.
Yeah, there's room. I mean, we just look at where he's been. Yeah, 3 years in New York. Then you had a couple years in Carolina where you weren't really the guy. And then a year in San Francisco where you're not the guy. And then you flourish a bit. And he's still young. If he weren't 27 years of age, if he were 31, 32, 33, then maybe we're looking at him the way we look at Geno. And it's still the same. We still were looking at Geno saying you still got to prove it. You got to show us something. But now we're looking at Sam, and we have a year to where he's done it. He has to prove it, but there's some film to go off of. You know, with the Geno signing, people were going crazy. Like, why are we doing this? Like, why is Geno the guy? Why aren't you going out and looking for someone else? You can kind of have to take Pete Carroll's word for it and believe in what he's saying. At least with Sam Darnold, even though we realize all the benefits he had over there in Minnesota with the coaching, the personnel, and all that stuff, he still showed he can do it in the NFL for a year. So his starting point is a bit different, and he's younger. But I'm with you. I don't expect him to save this franchise. You know who's going to save the franchise? The defense, the run game, coaches getting his offensive line ready to go. That's how you save a franchise. And also because of what we saw from Philly, even though their personnel is ridiculous, we're seeing situations where the quarterback does not have to be the focal point. He will be because he's a quarterback, but he doesn't have to be the guy to save the day.
Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory. Going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what did Mike Greenberg do that gave you flashbacks from high school?
When you are trying out for football, well, I don't think football's a cut sport, at least not in California, and I don't think here. But when you're going out for football, you have to take every opportunity to impress your coaches. And I haven't been on a vacation in the summer my whole life because summer has been dedicated to football. And it started when I was in 9th grade. You know, my last vacation was the summer going into 9th grade. I went to England. All right. Other than that, like I'm
not
stuck.
Since.
I'm stuck.
Like not since have you left the country in like July or June?
Nope. I'll leave like during the spring or something like that. Yeah. But it's because there's something called voluntary workouts that everybody knows is not voluntary. You show up, you're lifting weights, and it's for your own benefit. You get around the coaches, you get around your teammates, you start to build that camaraderie, it's all good. So what Vrabel did was he wrote voluntary letters to encourage players to go to voluntary workouts. Going back to the high school, the college days where you're putting pressure on guys because you understand how important it is to get 53 to 90 guys around each other, and you start moving towards the same goal. You start saying the right things and influencing each other. So I got a flashback because Vrabel's old school, and I appreciate that about him. You know what he also did? This kid I'm training, Efton Chisholm III from Eastern Washington, he called him personally yesterday. I just got a text from Chisholm saying that Vrabel
Mike Vrabel called him?
Vrabel called him. I said, did you know he was calling? He goes, no, it was a random number. I just picked up the phone, and it was Coach Vrabel. So if you guys want anybody to root for locally, man, Efton Chisholm III, he'll get drafted or he'll be undrafted free agent somewhere, but he'll play in the league one day.
I'm going to stick with the theme of this for an extra question. You mentioned hey, this is something that was very obvious to me when I was younger. And not only that, but Mike Vrabel, clearly an old school guy. Is there another thing, a behavior, an expectation, something that's just more old school that you wish, like, I wish this would come back? It could be in or outside of sports, but.
Just aggressiveness, aggressive coaching. Because I think to the core, good football teams and players need that and they want that. It keeps everybody in line, man. Like, you're not scaring kids, but you're pumping some fear in them at the same time. Like, look, I am the voice. I used to tell my players, when I speak, it's a scientific fact that the world stops. It stops rotating, time stands still. Like, you listen to what I'm saying, and there's that little bit of fear that you pump into your football team that allows them just to be on point, and then they start policing each other. I think there's a new generation, so you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
They're a bit different. But if that were to come back and parents would allow that to happen and wouldn't be all booty hurt about their kid being barked at a little bit, they'll be better off when they go off into the world, and your team will be so disciplined. Doesn't mean you're going to win games, but you'll be so disciplined.
So you feel like you can't coach the way you were coached?
I can, because I get these kids to trust me.
Right.
There's some coaches out there who just can't do it because they don't know how to do it, and the parents won't allow it. But it's about building that trust with your players and your parents so they understand exactly what you're doing.
Second down. What do you feel Geno has wrong about the situation in Vegas?
I think Geno thinks that's a legit better situation. Personally, for him, it is. You got your head coach. You got Chip Kelly, who understands you. You got Tom Brady over there, who can mentor you. But when you start looking at this roster, you got Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers over there. It's really Brock Bowers. But after that, there's not much really to work with. They were one of the worst when it comes to running the football. They were okay passing the football. They were one of the worst when it comes to scoring points. Defensively, they weren't that great. There's so much that you have to do over there for the Raiders to be competitive. And let's not forget, you got to play Pat twice. Bo Nix just made it to the playoffs. The Chargers made it to the playoffs. Like, everyone in your division besides you made it to the playoffs. Personally, it's a good fit for him, and I think that's what he's going for at this point of his career. It's not about the flashiness and all that stuff. It's about where am I wanted, where can I get paid, and just being an environment that I think is conducive to me just being my best self. He's won in that sense, but they're not going to win many ball games. And it sounds like he's selling the fact that this is going to be a team to win a bunch of ball games, which he's supposed to do because he's a quarterback. I just don't see it. Happy for Geno. Glad he made his money, got that security, but it's going to be tough.
They're down. What's something that was overblown this weekend?
Shedeur patting the dang football. And I see many quarterbacks do it. Shedeur might be a little more demonstrative than other quarterbacks. But listen, I just watched film of Tom Brady doing it, Pat Mahomes doing it, Josh Allen doing it. Who else to look at? Then I went towards the bottom a little bit. Not the bottom, but, lesser quarterbacks. Brock Purdy doing it. Listen, there's a rhythm when it comes to throwing the football, and not everybody just fires that thing off. Is it a tell sign? Yeah, but there are also some things that are going to hold safeties and DBs and linebackers and stuff called route combinations. Your eyes might take you there, but you don't know if he's going to flip his hips and go the other way. It's something that he can work on and be less demonstrative about it, but it's not a make or break type of thing. Like, get off of Shedeur Sanders' back. I know y'all don't like him because he don't move or act the way that you want your quarterback to move or act, and he comes from privilege, and it's weird seeing that at the quarterback position, just the way he carries himself. But look, it's worked for him so far in his career. Why would he switch up who he is now? So stop looking for stuff. I can't wait for the draft so we can just see him play ball. Nothing's guaranteed. He might get to the league and flop.
Yeah.
But he was one of the best quarterbacks in college football last year.
I think it really is sometimes as simple as he seems entitled. And granted, he has made comments before that he's made comments before kind of throwing his offensive line under the bus a little bit, or you could at least read it that way, right? It's not like he's just wandering around the world and has never said anything a little polarizing.
Oh, yeah.
He has.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a bit of projection of you just grew up spoiled. Would you be here if you weren't Deion's kid? You can't really Nepo baby your way into a top 10 pick, though.
No, you can't.
You are or you aren't. I know we all look at Bronny, but a round 2 pick in the NBA at 50 something?
Yeah.
Exactly. No one's going to be like, well, my dad, and be pick number 9.
Nah.
It's just not going to
happen.
happen.
That happens in TV and journalism and stuff.
Yeah,
that's where it shows up.
4th down. Who needs more draft attention?
So we were talking to, who did we talk to earlier in the show?
Nick Baumgardner.
So I was talking to Nick, and then we started talking about wideouts, McMillan over there from University of Arizona, and we're talking about how you can listen to some of the criticism, and some of that is true, but lo and behold, he put up numbers. No one talks about Nick Nash from San Jose State. Nobody talks about this dude. He had more yards than McMillan and more touchdowns. You can say if the competition was different, I understand that. I'm not going to ignore that either. He had Emmett Brown, a quarterback who was at Wazoo, who's now over there. But I've watched this young man play personally. He's not going to wow you with his speed, but he's 6'3", 195, and he will go and get the football. If he's available in rounds 3, 4, somebody go snatch this man. He might be gone before that. But if he's available at 2, 3, 4, he won't go in the first round.
Yeah.
Go snatch him. 104, 1,382 yards, 16 touchdowns. I called games personally watching this dude play. You put him in any conference, and he's putting up major numbers. So some love for Nick Nash.
Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
Florida and Houston meet in tonight's national championship game. Tip-off at 5:50 p.m. on CBS. Also, the Mariners take on the Astros. Pregame starts at 5:30 p.m. right here on Seattle Sports. Who's QB2 in this draft? That's next.
The Cal Raleigh Show.
Belted way out of here to right field. Holy smokes.
Every Thursday with Shannon Dreyer on Wyman and Bob.
Seattle has been nothing but good to me. I would love nothing more to play for one team my whole career.
Listen live on the Seattle Sports app or find the video on YouTube.
Cal Raleigh with a walk-off home run.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
47,000 fans are going crazy.
Jay Leno, live Wednesday, April 9th at Muckleshoot Event Center. Come laugh it up with one of comedy's living legends. No politics, no lectures, just jokes. And they're all clean. Get your tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com. Jay Leno live Wednesday, April 9th, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Muckleshoot. Between his hobbies and decades of work in a boatyard, Philip had put his body through a lot.
I'm an avid fly fisherman and an avid skier. It takes its toll.
Not to mention one other thing.
I had a near-fatal motorcycle accident. Absolutely obliterated my lower left leg again.
Philip couldn't live with the pain anymore, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
Listening to all these radio spots, I said, what do I got to lose?
What was your experience like with Dr. Wagner?
What I was so impressed with Mark about is that how often do you have a surgery like this, and the guy calls you the next day to see how you're doing. I can't say enough good things about the guy, honestly.
And how are you feeling now?
I have no pain, none. Zero.
Wow. So would you recommend stem cell therapy to others?
I'm a fan, believe me. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Getting a new battery should be easy. At Pacific Power Batteries, you won't go in with a battery problem and come out with a new transmission. Instead, we can test your battery to see if it's actually the problem. Maybe it's the alternator. We don't sell alternators, so we have no motivation to sell you one or even a new transmission. We have load testers and conductance testers, hydrometers and voltmeters whenever needed. I'm Steve Almond, and I invite you to our family-owned Pacific Power Batteries. You can trust us with any battery problem, and we'll top off the blinker fluid for free.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I don't think we're going to see in this year's NFL draft what we saw last year, which was quarterback, just nonstop. And not only that, but the class was really solid. I know we only saw a couple games from Michael Penix Jr. and TBD on J.J. McCarthy, though the Vikings seem to have plenty of faith.
But you're sold on Michael Penix as your gold and purple.
That's exactly right. I am sold on Michael Penix. This class has Cam Ward as kind of universally accepted number 1 overall pick to the Tennessee Titans, maybe the number 3 overall player, 3-4 player on the board. And then there's a big gap, everyone else. So someone like Shedeur Sanders could go to the quarterback-needy Giants.
Mm-hmm.
But they could probably benefit from some different talent. Maybe it's Abdul Carter. Maybe it's Travis. Who knows who it's going to be? But it feels like a very different class. And so the question of who is QB2 is one that we've been asking a lot of guests. This is what Mike Greenberg had to say.
Listen, I'm not telling you I'm predicting this. I'm telling you I would not consider it the most shocking thing I've ever seen if Jackson Dart winds up getting drafted ahead of him. I don't expect it. I wouldn't bet on it. I would not be absolutely stunned if Jackson Dart winds up coming off the board before he does. In that scenario, I think both of them have fallen a ways, and then we are outside the top 10.
Would you be absolutely stunned to see Jackson Dart? I mean, granted, this is just one prospect ranking list from CBS, but 50th ranked prospect goes off the board before Shedeur Sanders.
I'm looking at the possible landing spots, right? The destinations. And it's either Cleveland, it's Vegas, Nolans, and I think after that you go all the way down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And because I'm looking at the landing spots, yeah, I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. I think that the closer we get to the NFL draft, the more we're going to hear the negatives on Shedeur and the positives on Dart, because they're trying to throw off our scent or throw the scent off, whatever. You know,
throw us off the scent.
Throw us off the scent. Thank you,
yeah.
Interpreter. Trying to get us off of it. And this is what they do. You leak things. You leak things as organizations, as agents. If you have influence like Deion Sanders does, you leak things because you're trying to make sure that your prospect ends up in the right position, what you think is right for them. I would personally be surprised. And the reason why I would be surprised is because Dart is a better athlete, but Shedeur is a better quarterback. Doesn't have the strongest arm, doesn't run the fastest, but he played behind the worst line in D1 football. The worst line, and still put up a bunch of numbers, man, and had to deal with 2 or 3 different coordinators. I think that counts for something. If you're going off a straight personality, and let's talk about Jackson Dart a bit. I love the dude. I think he's good. Anybody talking about him showing up to pro day with the rollie on, with the necklace on and stuff, with the way he was carrying himself, walk around that thing? He has some of Shedeur in him. On the football field, he's a bit more mild, right? He's not flashing a rollie at the crowd and doing all that good stuff. He is more reserved on the field. I was watching him at his pro day and at the combine. I go, oh, he got some swag. I want that. I need that. If I'm a GM or a head coach, I'm okay with it, man, because you have to not present yourself, but believe in yourself in a way that no one else does. Like, you are invincible and you cannot be stopped. The reality is going to hit, and I doubt that all these guys work out. There's a chance that all 3 don't work out, that Cam don't work out, Shedeur or Jackson, because it's so hard to be that elite quarterback in the league. But there are some things that need to show up in your quarterback, and all 3 of them have it. If you ever heard Cam Ward talk about himself in this game, he's got that confidence. Just shows up a little differently. I would be surprised if Jackson goes in front of Shedeur, though. I think Shedeur is the more NFL-ready quarterback at this point. Put him behind a decent line, and let's see what happens.
Do you think that there's one of the 2 that Seahawks fans would be more interested in? Because I think there's a possibility. Again, Mike Greenberg said, look, I would be surprised to see, or not be like shocked to see Shedeur fall, but like he's still anticipating Shedeur is going to go top 10. Yeah. Like that's still his general kind of understanding of how this draft will fall out. Whereas Jackson Dart projected to go a little bit later. Maybe it's, 20-something is kind of where he might go. There's a world where both are available to Seattle. Do you think there's one Seahawks fans would like to see?
Oh, man. I think going off of the region and how just the personality of the Northwest, it'd probably be Jackson Dart. Just because I think this region appreciates the more humble approach to anything, to business, to life, to the game. I think that fans would probably want Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders, but I would take Shedeur over Jackson Dart.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to a few other quarterbacks here. So we're both thinking QB2 is going to end up being Shedeur. It's probably going to be maybe to the New Orleans Saints at 9. Maybe the Saints trade up. Maybe it's the Jets, but ultimately Shedeur, a top 10 pick. And then you see Jackson off the board. Let's jump out of the first round. Let's go into day 2 and maybe even into day 3. Couple names here that could be intriguing for the Seahawks. You've got Kyle McCord, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shuck, Riley Leonard, who could be really late. And then you've got guys who could be undrafted who I'm paying less attention to. Jalen Milrose, another name I see a lot from fans. Is there a name that intrigues you? If the Seahawks are using a pick you don't care about as much.
If we're not talking about 18.
Not 18. Not even 50. Mm-mm.
Or 50.
Nope.
Now we're talking about 92. Okay, let's talk quarterback then. If you're not going to go get one of the top 2 or 3 projected, I wouldn't be mad if they got Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart. Now we're talking 92. I've been yelling his name from the mountaintop, Kyle McCord, all day.
You have.
I
Can't
love
confirm.
what he brings to the table. He threw the ball the most out of anybody in college football last year. And it's I have some bias because I called some of his games, but he's the type of guy who showed that he can bounce back too. There were games where I think they played Pitt one time this year, and he threw like 2 or 3 interceptions in the very first 2 or 3 series and bounced back and had himself a heck of a game. But when you're asked to throw the ball 55 to 60 times, that's no exaggeration, like Kyle McCord was, you're going to turn the football over. It's just inevitable. I like Jalen Monroe for his athleticism, but I feel like what he does best doesn't really fit what the Hawks need right now, or maybe in the future if you do stick with Kubiak. And Shuck is the one that is interesting because he does a little bit of both. He can move a little bit. He's shown in the red zone he can tuck the ball and score touchdowns, and he can throw the rock. It's almost like when we talk about the first 20 picks in the draft and how after that they kind of all blend in together. It's the same thing with this quarterback stuff. Like after the first 2, 3, like, all right, they kind of just all blend into each other. So it depends on what you're looking for, what type of offense you're in. For Seattle, a McCord and a Shuck, I feel like, are the quarterbacks that you need.
I know the idea is you buy late and maybe that quarterback ends up being a trade piece, or maybe he ends up being a surprise. But if you take a quarterback on day 3, you're not really expecting him to be a starter. No. Congratulations on the teams that have had that happen, and there have been several. Should the Seahawks take a quarterback at all?
How do they feel about Sam? Is Sam still around? What's Sam's situation like? I mean, it's been quiet with him. I want to see if I can pull up his contract real quick.
I don't know that they're especially confident about Sam Howell.
No, I mean, listen, it was only a small sample size what we saw from Sam, but I just saw his eyes go down way too quick.
Yeah.
His eyes hit the flow quick because he was worried about that offensive line, and we know that the offensive line has been an issue here. I expect it to be better, but no, Sam signed through this year, and then he's a free agent in 2026. But I mean, his cap hit is only 1.1. It's nothing crazy. No. I would look at a quarterback for sure.
Like if you were in that room and they were like, okay, we could always get some special teams depth. We could always get someone else. You'd say, why not just continue investing, add to the room? Maybe it doesn't work out, but maybe your 4th round safety doesn't work out either.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way you're looking at it.
It's all a gamble. It's the draft, baby.
Okay, and in that case, you would want it to be what's it? The Syracuse kid,
McCord.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. I'll accept that. Get your questions in for what I need to know. I'm on the fence, by the way, about it. I'm like I feel like I keep hearing, but I'm not an analyst, so I just go on like things that I hear as well, and I'm like, it feels like no one's especially high on this class.
No, so it makes me nervous. After the first 2, maybe 3, it's all right.
You know?
Good luck.
I know. 866-979-3776. Get your questions in now for what I need to know. It's coming your way next.
The John Schneider Show.
With Wyman and Bob.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
When you guys bring in free agents, then they leave and you don't sign them, probably unique to each one. But is it just something you learn in that conversation that you go, okay?
Yeah, a lot of different reasons. It could be medical, it could be personality, financial, how they're going to be a fit in the building, how much they love football, what kind of worker are they. There's a whole interview process that I don't want to give out, actually.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. What dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? That would be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? You're getting good at this. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer a free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all their new Fords. How about this one? Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit back to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given back over $750,000 to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only. Take up to $3,500 off an energy-efficient brine cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Hey, it's Bob Stelton, and there is a big event coming up, and you are going to want to be there. I'm talking about live MMA at Muckleshoot Event Center. That's Saturday, May 24th is when it's going down. Get ready for heart-pounding, edge-of-your-seat action as the fiercest fighters step into the cage for a night you won't forget. I'm talking stunning knockouts, merciless submissions, and pure adrenaline. This is going to be wild, folks. You don't want to miss it. You can get your tickets right now at muckleshootcasino.com, and trust me, you're going to want to be there for every moment.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Collectors, Front Row Car Show is returning to Tacoma. Join us at the Greater Tacoma Convention Center on April 12th and 13th. Baseball, football, basketball, and hockey cards, plus collectibles such as Pokemon, Marvel, Star Wars, and comic books. SGC, CGC, and JSA will be there. So bring your cards, comics, and autographs to sell, trade, or get them graded. Hundreds of bidders, thousands of dollars in free prizes. Don't miss it. Front Row Card Show, Greater Tacoma Convention Center, Saturday and Sunday, April 12th and 13th, 11 to 5. For more info, go to frontrowcardshow.com. That's frontrowcardshow.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jacks text line, 866-979-3776. What I need to know. If the Raiders draft Genty at number 6, Hawks are number 1, but will you secretly be a Raiders fan? Legion of Beast Mode 2.0?
No. I won't secretly be a Raiders fan.
No.
We've already picked our team. Who was it?
We were good at this. We have to remember who our team was that we picked to be fans.
Who's our sleeper team?
Was it the Commanders?
I think it was the Commanders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're Commanders fans, die hard.
Sorry.
Roll Commanders.
I got the tattoo on my shoulder down.
Yep. You already know I've been a Commanders fan since I was born.
I had to get my tattoo modified because they were called a different team at first.
Yeah, you
and
definitely.
Now it's
it was
the Commanders.
It was a problematic
It
tattoo.
was. I didn't realize it at the time.
Well,
though.
it was also problematic because you got it a week ago. No, I will say that my curiosity has been very much piqued. Like, I will tune into more Raiders games, especially if they take Ashton Genty, than I would have were it not a Pete Carroll team with Chip Kelly as OC, Geno Smith, and Genty there. Yes, that has piqued my interest very much, though, to answer your question. 866-979-3776. Over the weekend, I showed my daughter some old school toys, a Nerf football that whistled when you threw it, and an old school Super Soaker. What I need to know, what toy from your childhood or before would you bring back?
I mean, they're already here. I think Rock'em Sock'ems are still
Yeah, you can still get those.
still doing it, you know. We went to the it's all what I am. Say like my dad. We went to the Walmart the other day. And when we went to the Walmart, we're trying to pick out board games, and I picked Sorry. They're like, what do you mean, Sorry? This is dumb.
That's
and
a
then we
horrible
started
game.
playing it. What you mean we was locked in? We was locked in. It's like no te enojes. If you are Latino out there, it's like no te enojes. Sorry.
Curtis or Matt, is there a game you guys would bring back from the 90s?
Matt just talked my ear off about some dweeby
Matt wants to bring
game
back
he played.
It's like,
Zelda
whoa,
NES.
Magic the Gathering. Whoa. Matt, we're sorry. What did you want to bring
My
back?
level 10 Chancellor card. You sound like Matt. It is.
Matt's going to say Neopets.
It
It's going to
really
be a
is.
website. It's not even. Well, I want to bring back The Sims.
No, for video games, it's definitely Pokemon Blue. Picked Squirtle every time.
Pick
But for
Squirtle
just
every
toys, I used to have a Star Trek The Next Generation tricorder that would like light up. Oh, let me tell you, the nerdiest thing, but I missed that thing so much.
You just said a
Shut
bunch
up,
of
Matt.
words that I just don't relate to at all.
And now you know how I feel 4 hours every day during this show. You're welcome.
I love that we get a healthy dose of bullying in every time. Yeah, all the toys I played with were like not fun outdoor toys, which is why I'm an indoor child. I was an indoor child. So Barbies, Furby, PC games that you would play on a computer. Kids don't know this, but it used to come on a disc. That you would insert into
Floppy
the computer.
disk.
No, not a floppy disk, like a CD, a CD-ROM.
Well, you gotta say it right.
Yeah, on a CD. What I need to know, since the Mariners just played a National League team over the weekend, do you miss pitchers hitting at all, or
No.
do you like the universal DH by
No,
now?
Don't miss it one bit.
Not even a little.
So it's a free out. Pitchers up there scared.
866-979-3776. Is Geno running from an NFC West showdown in 2025? Seems like it's anyone's to win.
No, he ran to the money and
Yeah.
security.
I think
in a healthy work relationship.
I think he was offended by the Seahawks by being like, I gave this team a lot, and they're treating me like they're giving me the same contract structure they're giving to a guy, Sam Darnold, who's never played for them before. And I think that was offensive, that idea of them not giving any guaranteed money in 2026. 866, I'm implying that. We don't know that they didn't, but that seems to be the implication. 866-979-3776. Let's see. What I need to know. Why hasn't anyone picked up Tyler Lockett? Good question.
He's going to be one of those guys who get picked up late after the draft, probably right before training camp. You need a veteran to come in and help out a room. He's not a guy that you have to have on your roster at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah. What I need to know, let's see. Can we forgive Goldie for calling Robles a Rosarena twice during that call?
Yeah, we can do that.
I didn't even notice, but I think
did.
Goldie's so good at his job.
Yeah.
That
Listen, let's be real.
Listen.
Skin tone and features, pretty similar. You know, their stature's about the same. And if you look from far away, you can get it mixed up.
I also think the right field corner in San Francisco not very visible from the press box, and that play was made in the exact corner of that portion of the field, so it's tough to see.
what I need to know. How does that security guard still have his job? Come on, man. For Houston.
Here's something I will say about those guys, like the event staff, the CSC, whatever, Yellow Jackets. Some of those people have no idea what's going on. They're just here to get this check.
Yeah.
And clock in and clock out.
What I need to know, Bump, need your Masters pick.
It's too early in the week, brother. I want Rory to win though, but give me a couple more days. Do my research. Me and Matt got to collab and figure out what we're doing here.
It's gonna be someone that no one is especially rooting for. Like, oh, it's Justin Hoff. It's just gonna be a name. It's just gonna be a guy.
It's probably a golfer out there named Justin Hoff.
I guarantee you, there's a golfer named Justin Hoff. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. Speaking of baseball, says another listener, if there was a choice, would you go back to the old schedule format or just keep it the way it is? I'm assuming they mean the ALNL.
Like 19 games against the AL West.
I like the way it is.
I like the way it is.
You get to see more teams.
Yeah, I'm very okay with that because you get to see more stars. You get to see players at your park that you maybe wouldn't, except for every couple years. Yeah, I'm very okay with it. Does anyone miss it? Like, is there a case to be made other than like the division is settled a little more clearly? Like, you can kind of see where you stack up.
Well, it also, I think, makes the games against your division even more important now.
Yeah. Speaking of, series coming up here against the Astros. You want to call?
I ain't calling
series?
nothing.
Okay.
Ain't no sweep.
1 of 3. 2 of 3.
Just win a game.
Oh, what I need to know, is there a chance the Seahawks could re-sign Tyler Lockett?
No. Too many small receivers over there.
I don't think so.
You don't need. Actually, not too
Build the whole offense out of slot receivers.
Time receivers. 866-979-3776. Why can't defense do their own tush push to counter?
Ooh, tush push back to the offense?
Well, inevitably, you can't move until the play starts. I know that it's a split second, but
you
like
can push, but you're not going to.
You're not going to get momentum.
Yeah.
But
I like their thinking.
Yeah, I see where your head's at.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, Scott, in the 425. 866-979-3776. Could the Seahawks bundle picks to move up? Or would you rather see them trade back and acquire more?
Stay where you are. Don't move.
Trade up would be pretty fun.
It would be fun to cover, but
time.
It's just, if this was like next year's quarterback class, it would be a juicier one to talk about because we'd be like, maybe they trade up into the top 10.
Up to get? You got 10 picks. Like, just chill. Just chill.
Well, I don't know, Bump. I mean, you're going to be covering it.
Yeah, I am.
You let us know what happens.
You
All
are
right.
too. No, you're not covering it? Yeah, you are. They'll put you to work.
Usually day 3. Usually me and Salk do day 3.
Yeah.
And we get an early start and like we learn player names the same time you guys do. This has been Bump and Stacy. If you missed any part of the show, make sure you go check it out wherever you get your podcasts. It's the Bump and Stacy podcast. Leave a review. We would really, really appreciate it. Make sure you go check out interviews with ESPN's Mike Greenberg and the Athletics' Nick Baumgardner. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
We are excited to announce the Cal Raleigh Show will air every Thursday during the Mariners season at 5 p.m.
I think he could be one of the most beloved characters in Seattle sports history.
He's a huge fan favorite, and on the heels of him signing this deal and showing his commitment to this city and to this organization, I think it's a big deal to have him on every single week.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Asset Roofing was founded with the aim of shielding the community from liabilities that may arise from hiring a contractor. Bob Stelton here, and I love their slogan. You're either hiring an asset or you're hiring a liability. Now, I've been there, and you probably have too. Hiring a contractor that showed up late, delivered shoddy work, or went over budget. Asset Roofing is the opposite of a bad contractor. Their business model is to deliver honest and transparent solutions, becoming a valuable asset for both clients and their communities. Now, I experienced it firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and then again when I had him do work on my roof. Now, these guys are the best in the business, and I highly recommend Asset Roofing to local homeowners. Now, this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing. Ask them about their specialty, metal roofs. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at assetroofingco.com. That's assetroofingco.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Let's talk about your hair. Well,
maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you, guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to the Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
From groceries to home prices, the cost of living in Washington state keeps going up. Now, Olympia politicians are proposing the largest tax increases in state history. Don't be fooled. If taxes go up, we'll all pay even more. Washington needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Tell the politicians no by visiting www.affordablewashington.org. Paid for by the people for an affordable Washington. Top 5 contributors are Washington Alliance for a Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Amazon.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture.